Hey man, this migraine isn't going away anytime soon. I mean, I don't even feel safe driving. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to bail.
Hello, world. This is Chris Aballo's podcast experiment, and I am Chris Aballo. Welcome to the show, where I'm joined once again by Jack DeFranco.
Hello again.
And Ryan Taggart.
Aloha.
And also running the controls, twiddling the knobs today is, welcome back, Engineer Chris.
Who's this Engineer Chris?
Who this guy?
Who engineered
who this?
a few episodes ago, the first show Jack and I did here at Shared Universe.
And I will say, I thoroughly enjoyed your show. The first episode I got to sit in. When I found out I missed an episode, I was actually kind of sad about it.
And then you found out you missed another one, and you were like suicidal because.
And you missed,
Why do you think I missed
that
more
other
time? Holds up wrists.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry. No triggers intended.
Yeah, no, he's joking. He's joking. Nobody.
Totally joking.
Don't tweet us. And you may notice that we're actually one short tonight. Andrew Rizzatello is not here. Unfortunately, he had to bow out due to some illness.
He's
unfortunately,
dead people.
Yep. Wow.
And I'm short, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
Too short.
Ryan made it in. Like he may need to put a booster seat in his car to drive here, but he made it. So.
Fuck.
Short fuck. See, Andrew always said.
Some inches.
Andrew always said, like, I don't even need to be here. Why do you just imitate me all the time anyway? Like, we're gonna get to test that.
We're gonna
theory
do
today.
the whole show for you.
We're gonna say, well,
it'll be like you're here.
Exactly. No, he wanted to be here. He only let me know a short time ago that he wasn't going to be able to make it, and I understood. He's got a crippling migraine. I don't think he's going to mind me.
It wasn't the Rona. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
well,
His
I don't
head's
know.
just all splody.
Yeah.
I don't know that I even buy that because as of yesterday, weed became legal recreationally in New Jersey, and I think he's just baked as fuck. And
It's not actually illegal yet.
Oh no,
Not until January 1st.
I don't know that he's waiting.
Andrew's got a lot of explaining to do.
The state put up a thing because people just assume that it's like legal right now, but it's not.
Yeah, because everyone, the state of Jersey got worried because the top result on Google in the state of New Jersey was how do you roll a joint?
I just saw that.
Really?
So all these
That's
fucking
amazing.
noobs who are like, how do you roll the joint? I've never done it before, but now I want to do it.
Yeah,
Now that it's
like
legal,
now
I
I'm
want to
into
try
it.
it.
Yeah, it's
I
bringing.
just saw that before I came in here, and I'm like, are you serious?
I had to laugh about it because I thought, people are going to be going crazy about this. And, given last night. For context, by the way, let me just say this up front because I'll forget. And then people are going to say, well, why are these guys just bullshitting for an hour? So we actually are recording this.
People don't ask that every week. Why did you
Well, it's
Why are these guys just bullshitting?
only because.
Why do I tune in?
Because it's 2020. We're recording this Wednesday, November 4th, the day after Election Day. But you are seeing it, if you're seeing it on the day it comes out, or listening to it on November 9th. As of now, there has not been a winner declared in the presidential election. So there's
If there
nothing
isn't
much
a
to talk
winner
about.
when this episode comes out, I'm so sorry.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, I really think that by Monday, people are going to say, why are they not talking about that? Like, we should,
I
in
told
theory,
Ryan in
know.
the parking lot, it's going to happen when we're recording. It's going to happen.
Oh, could we break the news? That might
would
be
love
interesting,
to.
actually. I mean, it's close. At this point, they've called.
Breaking news you found out 5 days ago, people.
Well, that's it.
In
Like,
case you don't already know.
we're far from a news show, so I didn't want to think, like, why are these guys not saying a thing about that? It's because as of now, we don't know. I mean, it's as far as the numbers go, they earlier have 99% of Michigan is reported, so that goes to Biden. So he just needs to win.
Michigan, and all he needs is Nevada at this
All he
moment.
needs is any state, because Pennsylvania apparently has like 1 million outstanding mail-in ballots.
Right.
As of now, because they allow mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day to be received and counted 3 days after the election, which is Friday.
Right.
And if
But
that's a
if
million, that could flip
Right.
Pennsylvania.
But
which
if
is
he gets
leaning-
Nevada, that's it.
He's at 270.
Yeah. So
Right.
he doesn't need anything else.
And he's got the popular vote, which isn't much of a surprise, but we're not going to get into the weeds on that.
Yeah.
That may be next week.
But
Actually,
right now, as we speak, we are close.
Yeah.
We are very, very close.
It's
by the
just a
time
matter
you
of
watch,
days.
by the time you watch this, people, the person who won should be insert name here. Okay.
Yeah. Just insert the winner. Yeah. But that's why, just up front, like if you're wondering why that isn't being acknowledged, is because as of when we're recording this, there isn't an answer. But by the time you're hearing it, there should be a winner declared. And chances are there will be somebody who's contesting that victory, considering how it goes now. But not going to get into that. But anyway, so no Andrew. He's home, baked out of his mind, and watching cartoons.
Yeah.
He's like, this shit's
I can't blame
legal
him.
now.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this. I'm not coming all the way here. I got booze and Mary Jane.
Yeah, you're sitting on the couch. How do you roll a joint?
Well, that's the funny part. Andrew had. See, we're just gonna talk shit about him because he's not here. It's gonna be the roast of Andrew because he didn't show up. But he a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember this. It was before we started the Only Podcast. It was more than 10 years ago because he smoked weed on occasion. It was his thing once in a while, like with his cousin. I don't think he would just sit at home and smoke. But there was a point when I don't think he's gonna mind me telling it. At least I hope he doesn't. But if he does, too bad.
Too late.
But he'd gotten a hold of some weed that must have been laced with something, and he hadn't gone to the emergency room. Do you remember that?
I remember the
I don't know if
story.
you were
Yeah.
around
I
at
think
that
I've heard
point.
this
You-
story,
yeah,
yeah.
you probably have, because it probably happened around the time you met him.
Yes.
And we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. He's not the type to panic and go to the emergency room, especially because his wife is a nurse. So, like he's...
Yeah, ain't that some shit?
It was bad enough. You should probably go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I know that's not funny.
Oh, no, it is. It is.
Can you imagine that?
But wait, there's more.
Honey, I need to go to the hospital.
I'm seeing purple monsters, and they're not going away.
There's spooky, scary skeletons in the closet.
Everything looks like Frank Zappa's 200 motels. I don't know what to do. Like you're going to the hospital. So he got a hold of some bad weed that was probably laced with something. So he did give it up for a while, which a while means a couple of months. So he's the only one who has a crush on Mary Jane, a crush on Kush, and my alliterative insult. But look, I'm all for it. I voted in favor of it. I'll say that right now.
I did too.
We said in 2014, in one of the last episodes of the fourth year of that run, we were actually talking about, it was a legal cast. I think, was it? Maybe it was just you and I and Andrew. We were talking about the things that should be legal, which were weed, gay marriage, and sex work. Hookers.
Yeah.
Hooers. And, we got 2 out of 3. I don't know why sex work's still not legal.
I don't
But
know
like
either.
weed, I'm not going to partake. But
Wait, isn't it legal in one of the states?
Nevada.
It's legal in
It is?
Nevada.
But
Yeah.
but like nationally, it's just kind of silly. It's like you could fuck someone for free, but if you pay them money, or if you pay them money and you film it, it's okay because it's porn. But you can't just give somebody $500. You can't do a
America.
Yeah.
You can't do
can't
The
do
land of
America.
common sense.
Can't have sex.
yeah, it's still frowned upon,
Team America's
even after all
got
these
something
years.
to say to you.
And it's no paying for sex. You got to buy dinner, and then you can have that shit for free. But anyway, so look, I'm all for legal. I don't partake in weed, although I was close to 5 years ago when my anxiety was out of control and I wasn't sleeping well. I know I talked to Ryan about this. That
I never heard this.
yeah, well, you know what? I wanted to do that before going on any kind of like medication.
Yeah.
Just because I knew a bunch of people who did use it for that purpose, and there are now that the nerds have gotten hold of weed.
We have craft weed.
Craft weed. That's exactly what it is. Holy shit.
How do you think we became cool in the last couple of decades? We just started smoking a little bit of weed
I mean,
when we
maybe.
talked about comic books.
Well, that's
We've kind of merged with the
Yeah.
stoners.
yeah. The hippies and the nerds have kind of become almost the same. They're indistinguishable at this point.
Everything's got their group of nerds.
Of
basically.
course. There's sports nerds and
They got bought by
car
Disney.
nerds.
Yeah.
They did. Stoners got bought by Disney. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting.
Well, Disney buys everything,
Oh,
so
would you like to
it was inevitable.
Maybe could you imagine that? Well, in California it's illegal, so you can imagine if Disneyland was selling character branded
I
strains
would
of weed.
love
Yeah.
that.
It'll be like Buzz Lightyear that makes you super chatty, and
Poison in the youth.
Donald Duck, which makes you completely
Don't get
unintelligible.
the Eeyore strand. It's going to really kill the mood. Oh, Bob.
Oh man, the mileage we could get out of this.
I'd like you to bring me some more brownies if it's no bother. Could you imagine?
Oh.
What
I
would
don't
be
thi-
the worst Disney strain?
Darth Vader.
Eeyore was pretty bad, but Darth Vader.
We have to. I'm trying to think like what would be the one that's like
Yeah,
the
what
line.
would the Force do?
Yeah. Man,
Thanos, you just disappear.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Can I
That's
choke
another
people
one.
on this?
Yeah.
Does it have to be like a character or like an idea, like the Force? Because like the Force is a hilarious name for a strand.
That is a I mean,
Yeah,
somebody
right?
has to have it, right? Somebody's come up with that.
Somebody has to have come up with
Surprised
that.
Kevin
by
Smith
now.
hasn't come up with that. Like as a
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's,
He's
it might-
got
This
his
one's
own.
called the Force.
no, but like called the Force. Like I'm surprised he didn't name it.
I mean, it's trademarked. I
It's
think that's the only
trademarked.
thing stopping him is the copyright infringement or
Yeah.
the cease and desist.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
otherwise.
did they have a name for Jay and Silent Bob's Force? Because they have the blunt sabers. Because you know what I'm talking about.
Oh shit!
You know
Oh, you mean like the equivalent of the
Yeah.
Force in the Jay and Silent Bob universe?
Is there one?
I don't know. I don't know if they refer to it as anything. Because yeah, there's the blunt saber, and the sound is different because obviously that sound is also copyrighted as well. Of
course it
So
is.
you can't use the lightsaber, which is fine because I prefer the Spaceball sound anyway, the Schwartz sound. But still the best Star Wars movie ever made.
May the Schwartz
But
be
I
with you.
think it would be. I mean, I'm playing now with the idea of like Thanos strain of weed, where it's like I feel like I'm getting dusty. I feel like I'm getting dusty for 3 hours. Like,
I don't feel so good.
Get dusted.
yeah, exactly.
Each make a strand
Disney's
that's like
own
the
branded weed.
there's the
weed
line
and
right now.
cocaine laced.
Yo, you trying to get dusted?
Yeah, I got some Thanos.
No, they make each strand like its own thing of the Infinity Stone.
Oh
So
my
it's like
God,
all
dude.
together.
Oh,
That's when you
shit.
get
Dude,
dusted.
Yeah.
colored blunts, that'd be hysterical. It's like you work your way up to get.
Oh, this is the mind weed. This is the
Yeah.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Listen to these three idiots who don't smoke pot talking about this. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Look at all these ideas we have for something we don't do.
Somebody reached out to us like we're not above a sponsorship. Again, I voted in
Yeah.
favor of this shit.
Yeah.
Just because I don't partake doesn't mean I'm not down with the cause.
I mean,
But-
really.
Wish
I mean, the
upon a
revenue that they can get for schools, for roads, for
That's
everything.
I can't believe it's taken this long.
This is
Tax the
such a
fuck
long
out of
time
it.
coming.
When you look at Colorado and Washington State, I believe those are the two big ones. I mean, California is a whole other mess. But when you look
Yeah.
at the states that were most ahead of the curve, yeah, they totally have. I mean, they have a budget surplus economically because these people are running legitimate businesses. It's not some dealer, it's like $50 for a bunch of stems and seeds. This
Right.
it's a
Jay and
legitimate
Silent Bob
business.
went legit.
Yeah.
Exactly. And dispensaries are huge business. They're particularly in LA. Like there's as many dispensaries as there are Starbucks, and that's saying something. 'Cause there's a lot of Starbucks.
There's a lot of fucking Starbucks.
People are high as fuck.
That's fucking terrifying. Now
Right?
that you actually put it that way.
Well, I remember when I was driving Uber when I was living in Los Angeles, which was a chunk of the second half of my time there a couple of years ago. But I picked up a girl on April 19th, and she
You
basically
did?
said, well, I drove a girl, I should say. I picked her up from work at a weed store, and she was telling me, like, I got to work a 12-hour day tomorrow. And I was like, oh, yeah, tomorrow's 4/20. She said, yeah, it's our Black Friday, basically. She said, everybody comes in, everybody's buying. But she's like, it's huge day for sales. Like, people who, I mean, there's the regulars who show up. I mean, probably some on the daily. But I bet there are people who come in, on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and just pick up whatever it is they're going to use. And that's fine. But for Black Friday, she said everybody comes in because it's legal. Like it's nuts. It's like what traditional stores get on Black Friday. And
Where did
I was kind of-
420 come from?
Yeah, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
What does that mean?
It's a penal code for related to like a drug bust or something like that.
oh yeah,
Oh,
okay. All right.
And
well,
then they
that
just
explains it.
co-opted the date in April for whatever reason.
Yeah, I never got that.
Yeah,
Then again,
it's a penal code.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Is that like 5-0? Like everybody?
Yeah,
well,
like the 5-0.
In olden days, like cops were 5-0.
Yeah, like 187 is murder, 420 is like a drug bust, like
5150 is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yo, if you ever have the time, look up the origins of 420 because that's a movie that needs to get made. That sounds amazing.
All right, I'm gonna write up a draft and send it over.
Copyright the Chris Abella podcast.
Send it over to our boy Kev Smith and get it going. It's like,
Oh,
listen, man,
man.
like this is right up your alley, literally.
Guess we'll have to start smoking.
420, The Force Awakens.
But
Oh, man.
yeah, you could have a lot of fun if Disney got into the pot game.
Yeah.
And why not?
What,
Why
it's
not? They're
it's
progressive.
inevitable.
They're,
I
they're
mean,
pretty progressive. They got Gay Day and Gay Week and all that other stuff. So
You
it's
know
like
how-
they're obviously on the side of
Right.
like
Yeah.
of where the culture is, but at least the majority of the culture.
And
Why
they
not?
have a war room where they're like, what haven't we bought yet? And then people are just like pitching things.
I got it.
The war room is
What?
essentially Eisner's bedroom, and he's just like, it's the toy chest, and he opens it up, and he's just like, it's not full anymore. What don't I have?
You think he's like still telegraphing, like using Morse code to communicate to the boardroom to Bob Chapek? Did I get his name right? Actually mistakenly called him Zapsik a couple of weeks ago before we even came here, and I thought, wow, that's weird. Where did that come from?
The Morse code comes in the main office by Sony.
Shit! We just put in a bid to buy the Sun, which is coming soon, by the way.
Yeah,
Peasants, we have to buy more of the world.
We're going to monopolize natural heat and solar power by buying the Sun. It could happen. It's
weird.
I mean, I'm all for it. This last few minutes, frankly, is a hell of a lot funnier than the South Park pandemic special, and they're jokes about Disney and Mickey, but that's just my opinion.
I haven't watched South Park in years.
We actually watched it last night, and we quit on it. We're like, this started okay, but it's just not funny.
I have 2 questions for you guys.
Sure.
In related to Disney. What is the one thing you hope to God that they don't buy that you think that they would probably have the most interest in? Because they're starting to buy up a little more than they probably should be when it comes to properties and brands and shit like that.
Another studio.
Because I know my answer.
I just don't want another studio purchased.
Because I know my answer, but it involves going back in time. I wish they never bought the Muppets. I wish Disney never.
You know what? They haven't done anything with them, so I agree.
Well, that's part of the problem is that they didn't know what to do with it. But Jim Henson really shepherded that. Actually, there's a great show people can look up on YouTube, Defunct Land.
Yes,
you've seen that, I'm sure.
Yes,
you're a Muppet nerd. They did I think 6 Jim Henson episodes about different eras, and the one about
miniseries. It's fantastic.
They're amazingly put together, and I knew from his not autobiography. Not really authorized biography.
No, the book,
but
the Jim Henson biography, that's authorized.
Well, the author didn't have permission, from what I was told, but Brian Henson basically did say, like, yeah, everything in there is pretty accurate. Like, he didn't get the okay from the family. Yeah. Oh, this is like 2014, 15. It's a couple of years ago.
It's a good read, to be honest.
It is. It's really good. It's a long book, but it's fast. I mean, he's one of my personal heroes, so of course I was down with the interest. Yeah,
but the chapter on the Disney purchase is very interesting because he was so gung ho for it in the beginning.
Yeah,
and then as he got sicker, but then as things started to just kind of as the negotiations kept going,
right,
he was slowly starting to realize, they were trying to screw him.
Yeah,
he was like, because he asked for a $2 million budget for Muppet Vision 3D. And I think another ride. Mm-hmm. And they were like, what is wrong with you? Because he wanted a $200,000 director's fee, which is normal in Hollywood.
Right.
And Disney was like,
that's not much.
Are you out of your mind? And Jim was like, if they're going to give me this much trouble for the next 10 to 15 years, it's not worth it.
Right.
And then he died.
Yeah, people attribute the difficulty of that deal to his declining health, in part anyway. They don't say, like, that killed him, but
Disney was about to spend $150 million on the Muppets when Jim was alive. And then when they bought him years later, in 2007, I think it was, they only spent $75 million.
Yeah,
and
there was a whole thing because they had a big announcement. I think there was a primetime special too, with like the Muppets go to Disneyland or something.
Well, in the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s there was all those like Sunday night specials.
But there was a big announcement when he was alive too. He was there with Bob, what's his name? Eisner. Michael Eisner. Sorry, every CEO has been named Bob, so I like Bob Eisner, right? And then he was followed by.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, exactly. It's a safe assumption.
Plus, the last guy that was Disney's CEO, I forgot. I'm blanking on
Bob Iger.
Yeah,
hated the Muppets apparently.
He did. They have not known what to do with them.
Yeah,
which is something we haven't.
Stop starts with them.
Well, they don't know. They're like the movies were great. I loved the 2 new movies that they did. I actually like Most Wanted even better.
I was gonna say I do enjoy Most Wanted more than I do the last Muppet movie, although I do appreciate it because it brought those characters back. Like people cared about him again, and it won the fucking deserving Academy Award because I'm still salty. Rainbow Connection never fucking won. So fuck you, the Academy.
Well, that song's gonna live on forever. That song's gonna outlive all of us. So at least there's that.
That's true.
And actually, there's an excellent. I just watched it since we're on the Muppets, and I'll take any opportunity to crow about how great the Muppets are. But on Disney Plus, there's a show called Prop Culture.
Oh,
and did you watch it already?
It's fantastic. The one on the Muppet movie?
Yes, they do one for the Muppet movie, and there's a guy who's a big prop collector who goes around. They do it for a bunch of movies.
I haven't heard of this, and I'm on.
I don't know why you haven't either, because you're too busy watching just stuff on the Star Wars category.
So prop culture is essentially what he said, but it's this dude going around looking for props in famous movies, some of which are still around, some of them aren't. He does Mary Poppins, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I mean, 2 big ones for you. You're watching it tonight.
Oh, there was a superhero one, but I'm blanking. I think it was The Rocketeer.
I think so. Yeah.
All my favorite Disney. Those are my 3 favorite Disney movies.
But prop culture is
It's
an amazing show. show.
H-A-R-D.
And
that's Jack's hard on hitting the table.
Yeah.
H-A-R-D.
Easy now.
And they did one on the Muppet movie, but it was so surprisingly like heartfelt. Like people that worked on it like loved it. Like they found Fozzie's Studebaker. They found the sign from the El Sleazo Cafe in the original.
Let's not give too much of it away because there's a lot of momentum.
So much more.
There's a lot more.
But here's the thing: even saying those two things, I'm only scratching the surface. They find so much crap.
Totally. I knew nothing about it. My girlfriend watched the Mary Poppins one. I'd gone to bed early and she had the TV on. I was watching it one night, and then said I can only watch one of these at a time because she got really emotional watching the Mary Poppins one because she's a huge fan of them. I mean, she's a Disney nerd anyway. Worked at Disneyland for years and everything. And she said, we have to watch the Muppet movie one, but I know I can only watch one of these at a time. And they're like a half hour, something, maybe 40 minutes. They're not long.
Yeah, it's a quick watch.
It totally is. But she got dusty a couple of times during the one for the Muppet movie when there's certain props that are found and just you see people's connection to it. The people who worked on it. I'm talking, wardrobe people and, people who did, some of the production design, without getting too into what exactly they found. People get really emotional about it, and it was you could tell the people who worked on it, that was their. I mean, some of them directly said it. That was their favorite movie that they worked on.
Favorite movie, favorite franchise, just in general.
Yeah,
like it breaks your heart in the best way possible because it proves what Disney could be doing with the Muppets, and it's like because there is so much you could do with those characters,
just like a Muppet Babies reboot of some sort. I grew up on that.
Put that on the network. I mean, why is that on Disney Plus?
There is. There's a new Muppet Babies.
The new one, but the classic Muppet Babies that I used to watch.
That's also the weird issue is that the Muppets, when they would distribute things in the past, rights were everywhere.
Yeah.
Notice if you go on Disney Plus, they only have a few Muppet movies, including the two recent Disney ones, because the rights towards Muppets Take Manhattan is owned by like Sony.
And they also have Muppets from Space, which is fine. They can keep it. But you know what? The reason that movie falls apart for me is just because there's no original songs. It's all 70s disco and funk songs. I don't want to see the Muppets singing, celebrate good times. Just don't care. Okay. Nothing against the song, but that's not what I come to a Muppet movie for. But the story was fun.
No, I completely get that, and that's my vibe too. I love that.
You two want to take 5, by the way, because we're just going to... Ryan's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Look, I'll end my Muppet rant on
No.
That movie literally was the first movie to introduce me to funk. So I was like, you know what?
All right.
Because if it was like, because when I came out, I was like a little tyke. Mm-hmm. So Dad was like, if you like this, check this out. Shows me all of Kool and the Gang and
right. Well, as a gateway, all right, I could see that. I hadn't considered that because I was in my late teens when Muppets from Space came out. I was like 17 or something. So at that point, I was all like, the Muppets. Yeah, I was like one of those. I was one of those grousing Star Wars fans. Like Disney ruined the fucking franchise, man.
Moody teenager.
You were practicing for what was to come.
That was me at 17. I was
Muppets
that asshole.
My Last Jedi.
But one of the things I thought, and we'll circle back, by the way, to your Disney question as far as, at least the first one. You said there were 2 about what they're going to buy.
Like
but
which
just
one would you not like Disney to touch?
Right.
Leave it alone.
To put a bow on the Muppets thing, and I agree with you to a point, but at the same time, I feel like if the Muppets were independent, just the Henson Company, we wouldn't have had nearly as much last few years. I'm not going to, defend Muppet Wizard of Oz and stuff like that.
I think there would have been more because if they had interest in the Dark Crystal, if Netflix got their hands on the Muppets, that would have been a whole other.
Seeing how things have gone, yes. Yeah. But like at the time, I don't know what would have been done kind of in between. Let's say Muppets from Space and the movie in 2011 because there wasn't a whole lot of activity. They had a couple of primetime specials: Muppets from Space, Muppets Wizard of Oz, Muppets Letters to Santa. There was a very, very Merry Muppet Christmas movie. I'm nerding out so hard right now.
Dude, it's okay.
These were like primetime 1-hour specials.
Yeah, they were.
Which were produced by Disney and probably aired on ABC, I assume, but not as much as But I feel like those things maybe wouldn't have happened. Now looking at the game now, where every IP is getting snapped up, like everyone's mad about the Peanut specials only being on Apple TV Plus.
I'm very salty.
And I bet I could tell you're that guy who's like
very mad.
I can't believe it. But that's a whole other round. I'm just gonna have to do a show with you, dude. Maybe I'll roll in here next week and just be like, "When are you working?" We're just gonna nerd out for an hour.
Welcome to the Muppets podcast, guys. It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights.
Oh my God, speaking my language. But anyway. I feel like now, yes, something would have happened, but in between, I don't know would have kept interest because despite 2 movies, a TV show, which I thought was hilarious. I thought the ABC show was really funny because I thought it was a good play on that kind of. It was a workplace comedy, basically, but it also played on the modern, half-hour comedy format where it's doing asides with everybody talking to the camera like every NBC show from the previous years. And I loved Muppets Now. I thought that was a great take on the current version of the variety show, which is essentially YouTube clips. I had a lot of fun with Muppets Now. People were really annoyed about it. There was a lot of hate online after the first episode dropped. Like, it doesn't sound like Kermit. Okay, well, it's a new guy. You have to get used to it. It's not the same guy who's been doing it for almost 30 years.
I will say that was weird. And that's the only reason why, one of the reasons I'm glad the 2015 Muppets ended was because we didn't have to experience the fallout of new Kermit in the middle of a new show. Because that would have been horrible.
Well, that was also apparently part of the reason, because Steve Whitmire, who operated and voiced Kermit.
Nuts.
Well, apparently he was trying to give the network, according to him anyway. I mean, there's different stories about what happened, but he was trying to guide the show as far as like what they would actually do and what Kermit would do. And he said he felt like they strayed away from the character and all of that at the time.
Yeah, apparently Frank Oz too is like very anti what's going on with the Muppets now too, from what I've understood.
Yeah, he's great.
Like on the outs of it.
Well, he's not involved. He hasn't done anything, I believe, since Muppet Christmas Carol, at least as a performer. But, I mean, even just as a consultant, bring the dude in and say, what would you grew up with Jim Henson, literally. What would you do? What do you think is the heart of the Muppets that people locked onto in the first place?
My weird claim to fame. I asked him this question on Twitter, and he answered. I was like, would you,
really?
if Disney asked you to helm or at least shoehorn the Muppets into a new era, would you say yes? At the very least, I just want to know if he said yes.
Sure.
If he would say yes. And he was like, I don't know. It's a really complicated question because he has a lot of emotional attachment to those characters.
Oh, totally.
So I think part of it is the fact that he can't perform it anymore. I mean, Frank every once in a blue moon comes back and does Sesame Street. I don't know if a lot of people know that. But like he comes back, he'll do Grover on occasion and maybe Cookie Monster.
Oh, really?
But it's not often. Because he's quite expensive.
So, I'll bet. Well, he's gone on to have a career of his own as a director. He's done a dozen movies.
So whenever he comes back, it's more of a legacy thing, but it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
That being said, I think that was the key. And that was apparently what was going to happen in 2009 before they announced Jason Segel's Muppet movie.
Right.
And that's my only gripe with that film. And I'm sorry I didn't mean to hijack your show with Muppet Talk. But like that's literally the only reason why like I can't stand that film is because if Jason hadn't pitched his version and they went with the more famous option, we would have gotten a Frank Oz helmed original Muppet movie.
Which at the 11th hour they dropped apparently like right at the time when they could have gone another direction.
Yeah.
Was
and it
like
sounded
an
great.
hour before. It did, I read the synopsis
the
of it.
cheapest Muppet movie ever made.
Who doesn't want to see that? I mean, if you have a passing interest in the Muppets, just the idea of the cheapest Muppet movie ever made is hilarious.
Literally and figuratively. That was the goal.
I think that's great. And so in line with their very self-aware and satirical approach that they've had in the past. Because that's what it was. The Muppet Show was basically both an homage and a satire of the variety shows from like the 60s and 50s and, that went into the 70s where everybody would have, the Jimmy Dean Show and the Bob Hope Special and, all those things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that show was. And that's why it was great because that was a reference point. And that's why I like Muppets Now because it's based around a bunch of segments that kind of play out like YouTube clips with, some connective tissue in between, with Scooter having to upload everything so the episode, the segments can go live and reaching out to Kermit. And instead of Zoom, it's called Rainbow Connector, is what they talk on. Like, there's a bunch of great stuff like that I love. I'm sorry they only did 6. I hope they do more. Nothing's been said about it, but
it's up in the air. I digress. That's just Disney. That's how they handle things. Yeah. That's why I don't want them to touch a few specific things. So I'm curious what you guys also have answers for.
I'm with Jack. I was very hesitant when I heard they were going to buy Fox. When I said they're buying 20th Century Fox, that's very monopoly. I feel like they can't buy. I mean, I don't think Warner Bros. Is going to give up DC, but I feel like they can't because that would be a huge monopoly.
That was going to be my answer. Is I hope they don't get DC.
I don't think so.
Oh no,
that's the only. That might be considered a monopoly.
I hope in no universe that ever happens because I mean they have Marvel obviously, and then DC is sort of a competing. series of properties. And
if somehow we could get a DC crossover in the future, but it's like a cross thing between studios, not possible now for whatever reason, but somehow in the future, dope. But
that I wouldn't mind.
Disney, stay away.
And I love the Marvel universe, but I like, even though the DC universe now doesn't need any help destroying itself any further, we all know,
and that's coming from you.
But I like that. In some aspects, they're separate and they're darker and grittier than the Marvel movies are, and we don't need like Disney taking over DC and making it all family friendly and fluffy and jokey.
I wouldn't think they would go for that because Warner Brothers is a giant entity to itself. I would think that something like a struggling studio like Paramount or Sony, because there's a part of me that's pretty sad when you see something that comes over supposed to be under the Fox banner. It's now 20th Century Studios. I'm like, oh
yeah, I know.
Like
after decades,
yeah.
It does. It feels weird.
Yeah,
it really does. And that is one thing that I get people missed about the recent Star Wars movie, the 5 movies, that you didn't get the Fox fanfare at the beginning.
Yeah.
I get that people for a lifetime.
They put them back on Disney Plus. I was like, oh, thank you. At least that.
Oh, did they for the first
the first 6? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that actually. It's funny. I get it, but
because for years it was just A New Hope because that was Fox partially financed that.
Yeah, so they owned
part
it
of that, but the
like
rest
in
of them were
perpetuity.
financed by Lucas. So.
I don't know. The idea that now, I mean, they're going to try Fantastic Four again, 3rd time's the charm, I guess. Even though technically 4th because of the Corman one, which will never get seen, although there's got to be a copy floating around. So I bet it's bootlegged somewhere on the internet. But
I think the whole movie's on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure somebody has it. I don't want to watch it. I'm more interested. There's a doc about it that's been on my Prime Video watch list forever about that movie that was made super cheaply just to retain the rights to Fantastic Four. I just love that idea. But I don't know. I'm okay with the fact that the X-Men were outsiders and obviously Deadpool being an outsider. I thought like having a different tone of that was good. And it's not that I have anything wrong. I love the Marvel movies overall, but I just don't know.
in the movies and we got it, so I was happy.
I could have taken or left because we've had so many Spider-Men. I don't know. That's a character I'm over.
I love Spidey. I'll never be over it. I mean, nobody needs another origin story.
Yeah.
But I don't mind Spider-Man movies
me
forever.
Too. Yeah.
Like we know where he came from.
No more Batman.
We don't need to double back and
it's like Batman. How many times do we need to see Batman's parents killed on film?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we get it?
Yeah, we get it.
We know his parents were killed.
No more origin stories.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Not even in the opening credit montage. We fucking get it.
Right.
It's kind of bad because it's like
Zack Snyder's take.
It's even hilarious when you watch the new Spider-Man movies because I love the fact that they don't even mention Uncle Ben once.
Yeah,
like not even once. With great power comes great responsibility, unless I'm mistaken. But they replaced. I don't believe so. I think they replaced it with something else. Kinda not.
He said something in Civil War of like, if you have these powers and you don't use them, you failed, or something like that. There's one line he says to Tony Stark in Civil War in his bedroom. But other than that, it's kind of like...
There's a bootleg version of that line of dialogue. With great power comes great responsibility. And they kind of did that with Martin Sheen in the Andrew Garfield ones, too. They kind of did a different version of that. Same line, but the message was the same. Yeah. It's kind of what they were going for.
It was like rephrasing. Like, you have powers, you have to be responsible to use them.
Yeah. Like, if you have a responsibility to make sure that you're using those powers in the right way, or something like that. I don't remember.
Responsibly.
As much as I like that first Amazing Spider-Man movie. But I'd say another studio. I can't be specific about one. I mean, Sony doesn't seem to be generating as much money. They seem kind of a prime target. Word was that they were trying to buy Warner Brothers, or at least they were offering to buy Warner Brothers prior to AT&T. Before all that happened, I mean, that's rumor. I don't know. It could be one of those things like Netflix offered to buy No Time to Die, but it wasn't enough money. It could be something like that where they were approached, the studio said no, WB said no, and that was that. But it's just one of those things that was talked about where I thought, oh, man, are they going to buy up all of the studio? And then they bought Fox, and I thought, well, shit. Which, just to quickly circle back to the Muppets, and then we'll get to your second question. Because I was I'm
so sorry, guys.
No. I was completely ill-prepared for tonight. I had a nice 4-piece show going, and then Andrew had to get fucking a migraine and threw us off our game. So at least you're here to fill in and almost be more effective.
It's actually.
I don't know if we need that guy anymore. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think so.
But, we celebrated 10 years the only podcast twice.
Well, most absolutely.
But the one thing I was hoping for, because the Muppet Show, they put out the first 3 seasons on DVD. Mm-hmm. It helps that you're on the other side of the camera because people watching and thinking I'm looking at them. But I'm looking at him. But anyway, they stopped at 3 because the 4th season was the Star Wars episode of The Muppet Show, which is one of the best. And I said that Disney's never going to be able to license Star Wars.
You know
what? To put that episode on DVD, I can't imagine they're that profitable. So when they bought Fox, I thought, great, they'll put The Muppet Show on Disney+. And they haven't. And I wish they would.
Because it's
6 seasons just sitting there.
That and the 70s were very loose with music rights.
Yeah,
so a lot of Muppet Show songs. There are a few original, but there's a lot of covers.
Yeah, totally.
That you have to license every single one.
Were there musical guests? Because I haven't seen the Muppet Show.
There's musical guests.
Yeah, like Alice Cooper was on a Halloween episode, so he did a few. Yeah, Crocodile Rock is great with the crocodile singing.
By the way,
it's awesome.
Have either of you ever seen the Muppets Star Wars special?
No.
Of the Muppet Show? I gotta tell you,
I've seen clips.
We really should. Well,
yeah,
we're not even gonna wait for May the 4th.
Yeah, that was time for Mark Hamill to like promote Empire Strikes Back because he was in the best outfit.
It's more hysterical as a Star Wars fan.
Sure,
but it's fucking creepy in the context now. Because, well, if you haven't seen it now, this show is what, 45 years old?
I mean, it must have been.
Empire was 40 years.
Yeah, it's got to be 40 plus.
So
spoiler alert. If for some reason
at the end of this episode, the Muppets, Luke Skywalker and Mark Hamill, yes, 2 separate characters, sing together "When You Wish Upon a Star" by Disney.
Is this where Mark Hamill's wearing that gold getup that I've seen on Twitter? That he makes fun of himself on Twitter? Yeah,
it does. But infinitely better than the Star Wars Christmas special, obviously.
Yeah.
And anything Ewok related, be it the cartoon or whatever.
I am looking forward to the Lego Star Wars Holiday Christmas special on Disney+. That's going to be fucking hysterical.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, it's going to be out on November 17th. So yeah, it's gonna be great. The poster was like Luke's Lego hand. It says to Luke from Dad.
I'm still skeptical of Lego post-Lego movie sales. So I'm very
Lego Batman movie was great.
Well, no, it's digitally animated. It's not like the Lego movies. It's like
it's not stop motion. It's digital?
Like the video games, like the Lego video games.
But is the voice cast going to be playing the characters?
A majority of them, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm interested.
Daisy Ridley, John Boyega.
I'd probably end up watching.
Carrie Fisher.
No.
I'm an asshole.
Why do you?
That was so mean.
Why did you go there?
I'm so sorry.
You just opened up a wound that finally healed. Yeah. Although not exactly 100% healed.
It never will be.
It still strikes me.
I'll never.
It's a shame. It's still a shame.
That's probably one of the reasons I still haven't seen. Well, one in a list of few that I haven't seen, Rise of Skywalker. I have no interest in seeing that movie. Not even.
It's definitely a weak sauce ending to that trilogy of movies. I'll say that.
It's a good ending overall, but
but you're biased like crazy. You're like, I'm just having to see lightsabers. No,
I have problems with it, but it's not like a perfect ending. But I
just thought it was weak for everything they set up. I just feel like there wasn't nearly enough payoff for everything they set up because they didn't have a plan. I mean, you and I talked about this a few episodes ago. Which, if you're put off by the name, the episode, I don't remember what number it is, but it's called "Boring Conversation" anyway, which is obviously a Star Wars reference. So if anyone's looking at it like, well, I'm not going to listen to that if they're saying it sucks. No, it's obviously a well-known quote from the first movie.
I don't think they had enough time to do it because of Carrie's death. They had a release date and they didn't have time to redevelop it.
Well, they had to come up with a new story.
And they were like, oh, what do we do now? And then with the director change and got to make the release date, I think that was the biggest problem.
Yeah, I think
the problem was that they didn't plan this movie out when they announced it.
Yeah.
Like they tried and did a loose connection, but like they literally put all their fucking marbles in the bag that was The Force Awakens and didn't really consider
and didn't have an arc beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's literally Lucas gave them pages of material.
There's stuff coming out though that some stuff that he suggested made their way into the scripts. Like Luke was going to die in Episode 8 in George's treatment. So there's some stuff, but it's still there wasn't a plan overall. So it is disheartening,
that's where it lets it down.
Still enjoy them. So
it's not unwatchable.
7 and 8 I love to death. And 9
I do too.
Yeah, 9,
I love Last Jedi. I think
9 I have a couple of questions. I love the movie, but I have there's some parts of it that are like this. The biggest problem with that, and I'll reiterate what I said in the show, is J.J. Abrams doesn't like to explain things. He just puts them on screen.
Yeah.
And even I was in Barnes & Noble a couple months ago looking at the reference book for the movie because they always come out with that. And I was trying to read up on the Sith Army, and I'm like, there's no explanation. They just put him in.
Right.
And that's the stuff that bothers me. How does the Emperor come back? I just want to know. And like we said in episode 7.
I've been here the whole time.
Yeah. Where did the lightsaber come from? Where did they find it? That's
another story for another time. No explanation ever in those 3 movies.
That's the biggest problem, is the JJ factor of like, I gotta keep mystery. No.
Yeah, Mr. Brony or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
This is going to be the last one.
Like that was that was a tease that was set up that was never paid off. Like that's a small thing in a string of things that I just felt like was a letdown. What was your other Disney related question, if you even remember?
I to be honest with you, I kind of forgot, but it was just a point that I wanted to make because you said something about Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But how creepy would it have been, or weird, Disney presents the Looney Tunes?
That's a property, yeah.
Disney presents Animaniacs. Disney presents anything under Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Disney's Tom and Jerry. That doesn't ring right.
That doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it would taint it a little bit. I mean, it's one of those things where you're just seeing Disney's name on another thing, and you're like, just stop.
Yeah,
you don't need to buy this. You don't.
It's true.
You can just stop. You own 75% of the world already.
Basically. It is one of those things where a lot of nerds, especially like animation geeks and everything, were like the Tex Avery cartoons. I forget who did those originally, but they're not Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers owns them now.
Did you just ask who did the Tex Avery cartoons?
No, well, I know who Tex. I'm saying the studio. I know. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? When was the War of 1812 fought? I meant like what studio. I think it was MGM. I could be
Tom
wrong.
And Jerry, I thought that was MGM also.
I think so too. But the fact that they're part of the Warner Bros. Catalog now, or like the most obvious one, is The Wizard of Oz, because Warner Brothers owns that now. But that was an MGM film originally, and there are people. I mean, there's a small amount of them, but people get really uptight about the association, like that those are Warner Brothers cartoons, that like Tex Avery cartoons or Warner Brothers cartoons. They weren't at the time. They are now,
MGM,
which is fine. They were MGM? Okay. Mm-hmm. I thought so, because I just bought that collection, which is great. If you're an animation fan, that Tex Avery collection.
Did MGM get bought out by Warner Brothers at some point?
I think it was just
what is
like
MGM now? It's not a full-fledged studio. It's like
no, it is. It's just like it's not a shell of its former self as much as it is just a new version.
It's almost
it's the same in name.
Yeah, it's almost
it was
boutique.
United Artists, wasn't it? Like United Artists or something split. It was MGM. I forget. There's so many.
So United Artists now is
what is going on in the next studio? I'm like, holy shit!
We're moaning.
That's the porn podcast. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess so. I better. They're gambling.
In the wrong room.
Live gambling on this shared universe.
What was I?
MGM United Artists.
So United Artists is now a joint venture distribution system with Annapurna and MGM, because MGM, they used to be their own distributor, but then after the bankruptcy, it was like, yeah, that's not possible. So they merged with, well, not merged in the sense of Annapurna is now MGM, but they created that company together.
They're under the same umbrella, kind of. But
which is kind of crazy to consider that James Bond is technically under Annapurna, which is an independent company.
Right, yeah. That's and James Bond's something that's so mainstream. But they're kind of, I'd almost say a boutique studio now, in that they're still I mean, they own the Creed movies because it's part of the Rocky franchise, and that was MGM.
Addams Family.
Yeah, Addams Family was one of them. Bond, of course. Movie? Which one?
Well, no, I just was like, whatever your thoughts.
Oh, okay. I thought that was another question. No, Addams Family Values fucking rocked.
That movie's great.
That's the only good Addams Family movie. But
my dad's on that soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was in an old 90s R&B hip hop group called PM Dawn.
Oh my God! For
what?
Real?
Yeah, that was my dad was the lead singer. And
What?
He had a song on the Addams Family soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. The song at one of the songs in the end credits, because it's that awful whoop, Addams Family. There it is. As soon as that came on, I was like, oh fuck, this full 90s. Like it almost doesn't get more 90s than that, except for maybe Cool as Ice.
That's my dad. I remember listening. That was like one of the first songs I remember hearing in the house, because he would always. Because
at that point, Set Adrift on Memory Bliss was on classic R&B radio. Holy shit! This is a huge reveal we got on the show. I had no idea.
Putting Andrew would have shot out of his chair and broke a bunch of things if he heard that.
Yeah, except Andrew would get every PM Dawn song wrong. He'd be like, they did the show, right? No, that was Slick Rick. It's like he's going to have everything wrong. It's just like, end of the road? No.
Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh, you're right.
Who's basically my godfather, because my dad
God damn. And I pulled that out of my ass,
because my dad got him a record deal in the early 90s. Oh my God. He like bought me my first stroller. Doug's been in my family for years.
Wait, who is Slick Rick?
Doug.
Oh, Dougie Fresh. Okay, because I was like,
Slick Rick.
Didn't they deport Dougie Fresh? I mean, Slick Rick at a point because of some murder charge. There was something. I don't want to get into. I'm not trying to libel anybody.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Yeah. I can't say shit.
There was something in the 90s about that, and that's why I was like, really. So
and now Slick Rick has a.
Is he living in your? Does he really?
Yeah, he turned.
No shit.
He turned one of his songs that's literally like. I think it says children's story in the title, and
it's called a bedtime story. Or
he turned it into a bedtime story.
That's hilarious. Wow.
I love stuff like that. But yeah, that was I grew up listening to the Addams Family movie soundtrack because I love those movies, and it wasn't until later in life that I realized because my dad never pointed it out. Yeah, I did the soundtrack. I was like, you tell me now? Okay. All right, sure, why not?
That's amazing. Yeah, that really is. My mind is blown. That's so funny.
Enjoy your mind blow for a second.
I mean, not that. Yeah, I think we're just gonna bask in that for a couple of minutes. So
wow.
But I was oh shoot, the MGM thing. But like with MGM, it's weird now because it's sad to say it's a former shell of itself, but it really is. Like it's not the grand studio.
It always seems like a studio that's in co-production with something.
Yeah.
It's always in co-production.
Like the Hobbit movies and everything else.
It's a distribution deal they get with a bigger studio. Like Universal now has James Bond. Or they're distributing James Bond. And that's the third time that's changed hands because when Casino Royale came out, it was Sony. And then moved over to Fox.
It's always been Sony from like...
It was
I don't know
Sony
what point that happened.
No Time to Die. No Time to Die is the new one under the distribution.
Under Universal? Oh, see, I thought because Fox distributed, like they reissued the movies on Blu-ray and everything. Well, so I think Fox had it for. Oh, maybe it's just a physical distribution, not the theatrical.
Well, yeah, with physical distribution, movies can go all over the place. Yeah. Like, I just noticed this recently. Don't ask me why I know this. It's only because I did some work for them. But the DVD for one of the last few Thomas movies that came out recently, like Thomas the Tank Engine, is distributed by Universal, but the property is owned by Mattel. And Mattel is then owned by I forgot who their main company is, but it's distribution for DVDs.
I think Mattel's its own thing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mattel's its own brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
They partner now.
Mattel has partnerships with Disney and stuff, but I think because I'm a big toy nerd, they wanted to. There's always talk about because Hasbro, like the rival company, has Marvel, Star Wars, and a lot of Disney properties, and their contracts are kind of coming up. They renegotiated for a few more years, but it's undisclosed how many they're going to be around. But Mattel has a partnership with Disney, and they kind of want to get Star Wars, Marvel, and all their stuff under the Mattel banner.
Yeah.
So
they have. It's weird with DVD distribution though, because like it can be anywhere. You could have a movie that's by Warner Brothers, but if you look on the bottom of the box, it's a Universal logo. Right. I think they have the monopoly.
That happened with it was like Ace Ventura, Major League 2, like a bunch of True Romance, a bunch of them that were. There's a production company called Morgan Creek, which did a bunch of movies in the 90s that had to deal with Warner Brothers forever, but now they have a deal with Sony. So like for a while, all those movies were out of print, and they were fetching big money, which is something I keep up on because I do pick up movies and flip them. Yeah. But they recently Sony put it out which is why like that Quentin Tarantino box set that you have, like that went out of print in part supposedly because True Romance is no longer a Warner Bros. Property, and the deal that was made for that set was to deal with Warner Brothers. But now that it's a Sony deal, if they were to put that box set out again.
How is True Romance not a Warner property anymore?
Because it was Morgan Creek was the production company behind it.
So now
Sony has it, and Sony reissued a Blu-ray, just like the Ace Ventura and everything else.
This is all confusing.
Yeah, it is. Well, and what's the other Regency, I think, that did L.A. Confidential and
it was one of
a bunch of other movies. Like that used to be Warner Brothers, and now they're with, I think Point Break is one of them, and now they're with Fox. Which I guess means Disney. So it's all over the road.
That's weird because now I'm like, because Tarantino's at Sony now. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was Sony. Yeah. So now I better get the best fucking Blu-ray of True Romance ever, Quentin. Get on that shit.
That's the thing. I don't know if they did a fresh master or anything, or if they just took the master that was used for the...
Doesn't he hate that movie too, actually?
I'm sure... what's his name? Why can't I remember his name?
Tony Scott.
Thank you. Tony Scott probably put his influence on it because he was the director. Quentin just wrote it.
Oh, that's right. He directed that.
Right.
And it's still not on. It wasn't on Blu-ray by itself, right? For a while.
It was for a long time, and then that box set came out. But then now they don't make that Quentin Tarantino box set that you have anymore. Now it fetches big money because I kept saying I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, and then something like this happens and it goes out of print. Which, by the way, that kind of piggybacks onto a subject that I figured we'd get to in the next couple of weeks. But everyone's getting their pennies in an uproar about the fact that, like, wait a minute, so when I buy something on Amazon, you're saying I don't own it? No, you don't. You're buying a temporary license. That's the same reason stuff jumps from, like the Back to the Future movies may be on Netflix now, but they were on Prime Video before that. And, stuff gets shuffled around all the time, which just goes back to what Jack and I were saying. Just buy the goddamn thing. You don't need to worry where it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with just like, you're saying I can't watch
digital version.
Friends.
Buy it through iTunes. Buy it through...
Well, but that's it. See, if it doesn't become available anymore, that's it. See, I don't know why I got all 100 years ago on you, but
I don't know. We're talking about Muppets and cartoons.
So who cares? Everything's on the table. But if you buy it digitally, I mean, I'm sure big properties like that aren't going to go away, but certain movies, when rights change hands, which goes with what we were just talking about, stuff is unavailable. Like people, same thing actually with some Quentin movies, because a bunch of the Miramax catalog for Blu-ray and DVD was just bought by Paramount, and they reissued a bunch of stuff. So you couldn't get Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, you couldn't get the Scream movies, you couldn't get Jackie Brown. There were a bunch of movies that were fetching big money because everyone's like, they're out of print, and people panic. And especially now that people, with the pandemic and not being able to get everything they want, physical media sales have gone back up. So people are looking to snap up these titles that they can't find on streaming that they realize they want to own, or people are just tired of the streaming, stuff moving back and forth between services.
I'm in that part.
And
so there's so many
Paramount,
services now, and it's impossible to juggle.
I lost track.
And you scroll through it for an hour, and you can't decide on anything to watch, and then you just wasted an hour of your life.
Yeah,
You're like, I don't even want to watch anything now.
Yeah, CBS All Access is becoming Paramount Plus.
Paramount, go fuck yourself, okay?
But that's it. Like now, Jackie Brown is back on Blu-ray, and it's $10, but for a little while that was fetching $40 a copy for used copies.
Like, while we're talking about rights, like I know that Lucasfilm produced the Indiana Jones movies, but Paramount's studio that distributed them.
Right.
So how does that work? I know they probably can't end up on Disney Plus because they're Paramount films.
Aren't they on Disney Plus though?
No,
they're not. They've been on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, Netflix. They were on Hulu previously.
Okay.
So I don't know how that works though, because I know obviously if they end up making a fifth one, which I don't know if it's ever going to happen, that will be on Disney Plus.
Probably not. I don't know, because like
Lucasfilm Disney.
The only way, I mean, I'm sure you could do a deep dive on the internet and find out exactly what it is, but at whatever point they end up doing a 4K release of the Indiana Jones collection,
I think it's going to be under Paramount.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess that's it. So maybe it's under Paramount, and Disney just gets a cut of it because they own Lucasfilm.
Because Lucas was
very
much.
Well, it's very interesting with Indiana Jones is because they've had Disney's had the Indiana Jones rides and all that stuff now, and they own. I wouldn't be surprised if they.
I have a feeling that's something with
it with the Lucasfilm deal. Because
I don't know, because it makes me think that Paramount owns more of those movies than Lucasfilm, because. With Empire and Jedi back in the day, Lucas financed them himself and Fox distributed them.
Right.
But I think because, Lucasfilm was the production company behind all those films.
Disney owns Indiana.
Disney owns Indiana Jones. Yeah. There he is.
Oh, I knew that, but like with the distribution of the first four films, like how does that work?
There's probably still deals in place
with Paramount or something like that. I feel
maybe
like the studio was more into the financing and putting those movies together, and then it wasn't just Lucasfilm is doing these movies and then Paramount's distributing like they did with Empire or Jedi. How they had that with Fox. I feel like there's more studio involved, so to say.
Maybe because now all the Star Wars movies are all Disney versions. That like the older movies. Now you buy it, it's got the Walt Disney Studios or whatever on it on the physical copy, and that might be the same thing. Maybe with Indiana Jones 4 now, they're not pulling like the current Blu-ray box set out of print. What is going on between the next studio and then there's sirens outside?
If you want to give it a second so you cut this part out, just let it pass.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No. Listen, that's the joy of live. It's just so weird. Like, wow, there's a lot going on around us. We're sitting here being nerdy about like rights and who owns what properties. But it's a question. Honestly, that's why I'm happy to talk about this, because it is something people are wondering. And with this,
it's a clusterfuck.
It is. Well,
figuring out rights is very, very difficult.
People are making a big stink about this Amazon thing. Like, basically, you're buying a temporary license if the movie or TV show is no longer sold or available through Amazon. If you bought it, you no longer have it. That's it. You're basically buying a temporary license, and people think they own it forever. But the easy way to explain it is it's the same reason stuff doesn't stay on one service for an extended period of time.
Yeah, right.
That's why there are franchises that bounce around. Right, exactly. Like The Irishman will be on Netflix forever because it's their movie. Or what else?
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things is only going to be on Netflix.
Any of their original properties.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only caveat to that is maybe the Marvel shows that were on Netflix. Maybe at a point those will the rights to that will revert to Disney.
They already did, I think, this summer.
But they're still available, like on Netflix, though. Like I don't know if Disney's going to repurpose them because they're R-rated in some capacity.
Netflix, I don't think is going to take them down. I think Netflix invested way too much money for that. So I think as far as the streaming, I think it's going to be exclusively theirs. But I think we'll see the characters again in some other capacity.
Right.
So I think we'll get them back. It's just going to be a minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All this is complicated, and it's something people are honestly talking about because they don't get like why stuff is not available. And there was. Particularly like with the Miramax movies, there's a guy who I follow on YouTube. It's a really good channel called Films at Home, where he was talking about Blu-rays that were fetching a lot of money. And he said Jackie Brown. He's like, look, Quentin Tarantino is one of the biggest directors around. Ever. He has an audience. Yeah, exactly. Like people will go to his movies. He's one of the few directors working now who people will go to a movie based on who the director is, and there aren't a lot of those. Especially these days. And I say even the last 10 years, there haven't been very many, but Quentin Tarantino's name's on it.
Yeah.
It gets people's attention. He said one of his movies is not going to be unavailable forever. You don't need to pay a premium to buy this because at some point it's going to come back on Blu-ray. If you don't have it now, okay. Like if you really need it, go ahead and buy it. But the truth is someone else is going to release it. And sure enough, I think it was around September, maybe early October. Yeah, Paramount dumped a bunch of them back on Blu-ray. You get a Scream box set. You can get Jackie Brown. You can get a Kevin Smith 3-pack with Clerks, Chasing Amy, and James Silent Bob Strike Back. It's like $15. So there's a lot of stuff.
Man.
Yeah. Put that shit in my Blu-ray player. In my digital, and they come with digital copies too. Which because it's Paramount, it's only available on.
And those you own. Because those are like
you can't get rid of those.
Those direct to download to your computer. Or
right. Well, that's it. You can literally download everything, so you have it available offline forever, which is something people are doing in light of this issue. They're downloading them to their devices or saving them to a hard drive because.
Oh, so y'all miss Blu-rays and DVDs now?
Well, that's it. Like that's why I'm still
Jack crawling back.
Yeah,
Jack
I get the whole package. If it's a movie I want, I get that digital code and Blu-rays, and that's it.
That's it. I mean, Jack and I have been saying that. Like I'm still a huge proponent of physical media. I will always buy that first, with a few exceptions. I bought some stuff digitally if the Blu-ray's not great. We talked about that somewhat recently. Where like if the Blu-ray doesn't have like a good transfer or doesn't have new features or anything like that, but it's a catalog company who put it out and it's $20, I'll buy it digitally when it's like $5. Because I'm not going to pay a premium price for an average product when I can get an equivalent for way less.
You gave me recently that copy of Big Trouble in Little China because you got the upgraded version. How is that? I haven't watched it yet, but how is the transfer of that? Because I was thinking about buying it digitally.
It's similar to the transfer on, which is one of the reasons I was like, okay, I kind of bought it for the features, which I'm sure I'm not going to watch most of the features more than once.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a day I'll just sit and watch 2 discs worth of Big Trouble in Little China features and then maybe won't revisit them.
That's me with Maximum Overdrive because
Vestron.
Vestron just did a re-release of that. I don't know if it's a remaster. I don't think it is. I think it's literally a copy over.
I don't know. Funnily enough, I was looking into Little Monsters, and then I saw it popped up on Netflix. I'm like, I guess I'll wait on the Little Monsters Blu-ray, which will go out of print in 6 weeks.
But the features on that Blu-ray are incredible. Like there are some things in there that I never knew about Maximum Overdrive because that is. I don't care what anyone says. That is one of my top 10 movies ever.
Yeah, you got a thing with vehicular death
in movies. I love it.
We talked about that after the last show.
Just the idea of Stephen King making a movie coked out of his mind is just what?
Yeah, I'm like, how does that not get your attention?
Like, come on. Like, forget the vehicle thing, because I love that corny little subgenre.
Stupid question. Did he direct it?
Yes, he directed and wrote it. It's the only time he's ever done it.
Oh, my God. And I knew he was fucked up when he was writing it.
Have you seen Maximum Overdrive?
No, I haven't, but now I want to.
Bro, if you watch Maximum Overdrive, you're going to see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about on screen.
All right.
Like, when I say coked out Stephen King, I'm going to show you.
I'm still in a horror mood. I watched all the Halloween movies this past weekend just for no reason. They were on AMC all weekend.
So bad.
I love Halloween 4 so much.
Well, that one I need to rewatch. But like we'd never seen 6, and
6
we watched
was a
it
piece
on
of shit
what channel was that? Yeah,
AMC.
It's terrible. AMC. That's right. You just said it.
Halloween 4 is so fucking good. I love it.
But 5 was really stupid. 6
sucked.
was awful.
Yeah.
Although again, we want
that sucked.
Which one's got Busta Rhymes in it?
Halloween Resurrection.
By the way, we watched Halloween H2O. What a fucking snooze fest that was.
Oh man, Sherry hates that. That's her least favorite Halloween movie.
So fucking boring.
Which is saying something.
Nothing happens in that movie.
Halloween Resurrection is just dumb because it's got Busta Rhymes trying to like kung fu kick Michael Myers. It's so dumb, but entertaining for what it is.
Oh, for sure.
I want to watch it for that reason, just because I saw it in 2002 when it came on DVD and haven't seen it since.
This is the lead truck in Maximum Overdrive.
Green Goblin?
And it has a Green Goblin face on it. When Stephen King asked, when Stephen King was asked
AC/DC's on a soundtrack too?
They did the whole soundtrack.
What's not to love?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 5 new songs and 5 classic AC/DC songs.
One of my...
The Who Made Who
But they all
album.
sound the same. So.
Do any of
How
you know
dare
who
you.
the Nostalgia Critic is?
Oh, yeah.
I used to love his videos, and his review of this is one of my favorite moments in a review, because when that credit pops up of AC/DC, it goes, hallelujah. Hallelujah. But dude, this movie's batshit. If you haven't watched it, it's a good time.
I haven't seen it in years, but that's one I'll pick up because I think it's like $10. Like the Vestron video releases aren't that pricey. $10-15. Like I'd totally just buy that.
We're speaking about rights. Vestron Video. How is that place went out of business? 30 years ago?
Well, the video store.
Well, no, it was a VHS label. They distributed their own
stuff. The Netflix
stuff.
show, The Movies That Made Us. I watched that about Dirty Dancing, and that was like the movie that they financed and put together. And then everything else was like
that's right.
Movies like Little Monsters was like the next thing they followed that up with. Like they had this roaring success, and they had these awful movies. With, like,
I find that hilarious that they couldn't follow up Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like that's one that people would be all over. Like if it gets a good. I remember people going crazy for that on DVD when we were. Well, this is before you worked in the big box store with me. But when that came on DVD, that I think it was Artisan was the company that owned it at the time.
I bought that as a Christmas gift. I think I bought that for my mom for Christmas, and it was a pain in the ass to try to find.
Yeah, that because it was like $10. That was like a budget title, which was weird. But just to have it on DVD, that one was always sold out, especially because it was cheap. And I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I bought that like Christmas 2003 for my mom because that's one of her favorite movies, and it was like a struggle to find this movie. It's a Walmart, Target, Circuit City, Best Buy. Where like
it's you know what it is, the technical merits. Looking at the review for that Maximum Overdrive Blu-ray, it looks like the features are loved, but the video is not. They didn't do like a 4K scan or scan the negative or something like that for it. So
I think that's one of the films
master.
where the negatives lost, unfortunately, because I think that was one of those cases where. Because it happened with a lot of music, but a lot of films were lost in the Universal fires too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
So Blu-ray and DVD copies of certain movies, that's just all we got.
Right. Yeah. You just have whatever transfer exists, and you can only beef that up so much.
Exactly.
So, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I heard rumors, actually. I don't know if that channel addressed this, but Disney wasn't going to be doing physical media anymore. It was just going to be digital.
Disney has said that that's a rumor. They're not saying that they won't be doing any physical media. I mean, right now all their eggs are in the Disney Plus basket because make no mistake, Disney and Universal make the majority of their money at the parks. That's where they make their bread and butter. It ain't movies. Movies are nothing to count out of the equation because I think they made $11 billion or something like that in 2019.
It's a lot of money.
They had a huge haul, and. But the fact that they said we're not doing physical media anymore just isn't true because the big argument that I noticed that people were doing online, particularly film nerds and physical media nerds, is because they did a fresh scan of the classic film True Lies, and it's waiting on James Cameron's approval, which you've been in quarantine and you only make, well, I mean, I realize you're working on Avatar sequels nobody's asked for, but he literally just needs to watch it and sign off on it, and that's it. Take 2.5 hours, watch the goddamn thing, give notes about what you'd change, or sign off and release it. Because it never came on Blu-ray. Like, I still have my True Lies DVD, and it's never, and same thing with Strange Days, actually, is another one. Like, that's been on DVD, but you can't even rent
The Abyss
that.
also, right?
And The Abyss never came on Blu-ray. Exactly. So there are movies of his.
That movie's the equivalent of NyQuil. Holy shit. I saw that in 9th grade. We were watching it in science class, and I literally was like...
Well...
Oh my god! That's fucking
excellent. You're right. I mean,
I've never heard a movie referred to as NyQuil.
In the way Avatar is headache-inducing with all the CG.
It's like underwater. I thought like this is going to be great. It's going to be like Terminator. It's the most boring.
It's nothing like Terminator. I will hand it to that guy. He doesn't do the same movie twice. I'll say that. Like, you can't look at Piranha 2 and Terminator 2 and say this is totally the same guy.
Nope. I get that, but you can make a movie exciting.
I agree. It is. I don't want to say self-indulgent, but it's a different type of sci-fi. I mean, compared to the stuff like whether it's Aliens or the Terminator movies, you would think, oh, okay. You would think this guy's gonna make something compelling.
I think that was mainly made just to kind of show off what kind of technology he was.
I agree with
that
at
the time.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like a teaser for Terminator 2. Like, look what we got coming.
Didn't it win an Academy Award for VFX?
Probably.
Let's say yes.
That sounds like that's accurate.
But yeah, that was the big one people were worried about because they're like, we never got a Blu-ray of True Lies, and I think it's available, to buy digitally. But same thing, it's an old master. It's the same one they use when they broadcast it on TV.
It's on TV all the time.
Yeah, it's never on cable, and that's another gripe people have. It's one of those movies like you'll never find on HBO. It's just, once in a while it'll pop up.
AMC
right, it's edited to shit because it's an R-rated movie, and there's a good. There's not a ton of violence. It's not like super bloody or anything.
That striptease with Jamie Lee Curtis is cut down severely.
There's no point in watching movies like that on network TV.
Well, yeah, I always find that funny. It's just like Saturday on Tommy Central, Tommy Boy and Black Sheep double feature. I'm like, who wants to watch edited versions of these movies? Or like Beverly Hills Cop Marathon. Who wants to watch those movies cut to shit? Like, why would you bother?
I know you clown me over the killer vehicle thing, okay? But
no, not at all.
But hear me out.
Okay.
AMC butchered Christine the last time I watched it on TV. I was so fucking mad because it was an edit that affected the pacing. And I'm fine with movie edits for TV. I understand it. I know this fucking standards. But if you're going to fuck with a film's pacing, that's a big fucking no-no. Because then you affect the legacy of that movie.
Right.
Like
I agree with that.
And I understand it because Christine, there's a lot of unnecessary cursing. Just bleep it out. Do whatever you got to do. But don't cut key scenes out and chop it. I literally had this discussion
editing
with a
for
friend.
time, that's something that I feel like a lot of movies fall apart too.
And AMC is usually allowed to do
whatever the fuck
they want. Exactly. There are curses in The Walking Dead and other shows that they put on there, Breaking Bad. So they're allowed to do a little more than other networks seem to be able to, but
at the same time, exactly. Like films
then they're
going to
just edit for time.
Yeah.
The thing
it's
that
not
used
worth
to be
it.
their bread and butter, and now they treat like shit. I find that hilarious.
Yeah, secondary to 3 Walking Dead shows, I guess. I don't know. Well, 4 if you want to include Talking Dead.
Well, 2 now. Isn't the main Walking Dead ending?
No.
No, they're going to go to like season 11 last I checked.
Yeah, there's like 2 more to go.
It's not on right
I thought they announced it was ending. Like
they announced that it's going to
in like
end,
2 more seasons.
I think it's going to be like 2 more seasons.
Okay.
But dude, they're going to drag them out because that was one of the points of contention with I don't remember so much the creators. I know the actors were a little annoyed because they did the last season of Mad Men, and they split it into 2 separate calendar years where they aired the season as part 1, part 2 on AMC. So they will stretch shit out.
They did that with Breaking Bad also.
Did they do that? Yeah. Like it's one of those things where actors are just like, we did the show, and now it's 2 years since we shot it, and now it's finally getting aired. The finale is finally ending. But I don't know if that's something that the creators have control over, or if ultimately it's like a network that says, yeah, we're going to stretch this out. But The Walking Dead will end in like 4 years because they're going to stretch out seasons 10 and 11.
Until it's
season 11.
I know.
Up over
Well, just the fact
they'll
they
do
spun
16 episodes and they'll do 8 each over the course
a year.
of, right.
Well, they just launched a new show, so they're not quite ready to give up on an idea that's.
Yeah, I was just shocked watching TV this weekend because I hadn't watched AMC in a while. Like, why isn't the main Walking Dead on? Why are all the spin-offs on now?
Right.
I know it had something to do with the pandemic. Where I'm like, the fall was like Walking Dead time.
Right.
Well, obviously production was halted. I don't think they've gone back yet. I'm actually surprised some of the shows that have gone back. Like apparently, I just found out last night there's a trailer for the new season of Blacklist. I didn't even know they went back into production. Like I've heard of a couple of shows that are being really strict. Including at one of my old employers, the studio I work for in California, which shall remain nameless. But they get a couple of shows that have started filming where it's, socially distanced. Everybody gets tested on a daily basis. The actors wear masks until they're on camera. So there are productions that have steadily come back. And everybody has a couple of COVID compliance officers to make sure everything's being conducted safely.
Small fucking army.
I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't know that that was a show that was back to filming already. I mean, I didn't watch the trailer yet because I fucking love The Blacklist. The only network show I watch anymore. But it was really surprising because so much stuff has been shut down. So I guess Walking Dead's going to be coming back. I guess
it'll come out.
I would figure Atlanta has to have pretty loose restrictions considering, state to state. Let's be honest. There's a lot of variance on enforcement or COVID-related regulations, I should say.
Yeah.
Do any of you follow Tyler Perry at all, or to see what he does as far as a producer? Because what he's been doing is interesting. He basically locked down his film studio and. Because he has literally his own private backlot that he built.
Funny story, the company I worked for before the pandemic, before I got let go, we actually got Tyler Perry's studio in Atlanta as a contract to move people around with busing.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
funny.
Yeah.
But they turned the
houses it was a big
that
hit
were there
for us,
into,
and then it just, the world
into housing for the crew, and
that's awesome.
They shoot all the stuff on site. So they do all the COVID basically it turns into camp for 6 weeks at a time.
That's pretty sweet. I'd love to be on a
sounds fun.
production
Yeah.
that that's kind of what a film is. People basically work in one I mean, if it's shot in a central location, you're there for 6-8 weeks, or maybe a month, depending on how big it is.
But they bring like food trucks in. It's like
that's
literally
amazing.
They lock it down because you're not allowed to leave.
Right. Well, that's a dude. See, I have a lot of, as much as his stuff isn't for me.
No, I get that. It's
I have a lot of respect.
I have a
ton of respect for what he's done. He's helped attract the industry to Atlanta. Like the larger TV and film industry as a whole.
Movies filming there.
Exactly. They alternate between Atlanta and London. And, obviously he's created a job there. There was a dude who I drove around Los Angeles in Uber who was, I picked up, he was filming, he had a recurring role in Lethal Weapon, the Lethal Weapon TV series. And he lives in Tennessee. He won't move out to California. This was really interesting, and actually it kind of played into my decision to move back from Jersey. This is something I haven't talked about yet. But at that point, I was kind of on the fence of whether or not I was going to stay in California. This is, I'm going to say, like fall of 2017. So about a year before I left. And he lives in Tennessee. He flies out and stays for a couple of weeks because Lethal Weapon, a show, like an hour-long primetime show, will shoot over the course of a week, long days. But an episode is basically turned around in 5-6 days. So he would be out there for a couple of weeks. He'd rent a place, and then he'd fly home to Tennessee, where he has a house. And he would do the same thing in Atlanta. And he got roles and was working in all these films and TV shows in Atlanta. That's how he got into Screen Actors Guild. And then he was able to get roles out in California. And he had casting agents ask him, if you were a regular on a show, as opposed to recurring, if it was like a long-term, like a full, like 8-9 months production, would you move out here? Because obviously if you're local, a lot easier to justify casting you. And he said, well, I own a home where I am, and he said I can live for a third of what it would cost for me to live out here. Where I am, like I can't rent for like 3 times my mortgage. That's just unrealistic. But he said I would move out here for the stretch. Like I will fully live here for the time the show's in production. And a lot of people do that. So when I mentioned him about like, well, I'm considering moving back to the East Coast and seeing, everything because it's diminishing returns, staying out here, it's expensive and tired of just treading water. And he was like, dude, do it. Because you know what? If you get to a point where you build up.
That's
yeah?
Yeah, the 2 lead guys, I think, live in Texas. The show's shot in Canada.
Right. Yeah, they're in Vancouver, I think. Yeah. And,
It's better to live where you want to live because Hollywood will come calling if you're
well
popular.
That's it. Like, and even just when it comes to the opportunity to make yourself available, especially in the era of Airbnb, it's like, why not? You can rent a place just short term. You don't need to necessarily live there. And like I don't know that I could live out in California again just because the city of LA and specifically aside from the pricing alone, which is a whole other thing. I don't want to get on a soapbox about that. Rather get on a soapbox about good things like the Muppets. But I would certainly go out there for the sake of work if something came up or if there was an opportunity or some long term. Like, yeah, I would live out there in the short term. As far as full on moving out there, I don't know.
And somebody like Paul, you've been there, done that.
I had twice, no less. Yeah. Like I spent 8 years. I spent over about a quarter at this point. Okay, closer to 20% of my life living out there. So I mean, that's a chunk. Yeah. And there are people. I'm not putting myself in the same category as Paul Rudd, but like, dude lives in New York, and he still gets work. I mean, I'm not saying I'm him and I'm in demand like that dude, but like, there are people who just don't live out there. Which I thought, wow, here's a guy who's from Tennessee, was able to work. Atlanta's reasonable, is drivable, and is able to stay there, work, and then at a point when he moved up the ladder, he was able to go out and get cast in things in California and said, you know what, I'll be out here if they need it. And now, sure, because you can get a place short term and it's no problem. And that's the whole thing that's going on in California. It's separate discussion, but everybody's buying up stuff because they know they can rent it for a lot of money. Nobody's living there. They're just not selling their places. They're moving like Portland or Austin. But
smart move.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, before we wrap up here, I would like to take a moment to call attention to my shirt. I want to celebrate tacos.
Tacos are nice.
Every day. Not fish tacos. That's another show. But we do want to call out my sister for getting, this is one of my birthday gifts, along with, now this is an official Taco Bell shirt.
I just noticed the bell on the bottom.
Yeah, I just noticed that too.
I get a box in the mail from Taco Bell, and I'm like it's not that the box has the logo,
dinner.
but it's
frozen cheesy Fiesta potatoes.
That wouldn't be my first thought.
Retired.
I'd be like, first off, Taco Bell in the mail just sounds all kinds of wrong because it's just like, it better be cold. I gotta heat this shit up.
Dry ice.
It's one of those things. I just heard about. You probably know. Well, you definitely know because you were there working in part. Like the Movies pop up. You can order the Movies menu through Goldbelly, and a bunch of people have meals on there. You can order prepared meals that are safely packed and shipped to you that you can then heat up or prepare in some capacity at home. So I thought, does Taco Bell have something like that? Who the fuck is sending me a box of Taco Bell? Like, I have them here. I got like 3 within 20 minutes. Yeah. I could take care of my own Taco Bell. Thank you very much. Even though I'm grateful, I don't want to seem ungrateful. But it wasn't that the logo was on the box. It was on the tape that taped the box. It was this white tape with the bell on it. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Anyway, so my sister got me this shirt, which I want to call attention to because it's very 80s. So she knew it would definitely, of course, be my thing.
Very Cheap Trick.
Totally. Yeah, it's like this is a shirt that would have been worn in It's Only Love video from circa the Doctor era of Cheap Trick. But and the other gift was, and this is amazing. If you didn't know there was official Taco Bell merchandise, I highly recommend it because it's the only fast food, frankly, I'm indulging in these days.
Yeah,
more
Same here.
Since the pandemic.
Like pajama sets that are matching.
Well, this is the best possible gift. Much as I love this shirt, the best gift that she got me is this. It's almost like a micro fleece blanket. It's so goddamn soft. It's the burrito wrapper. It's printed just like the wrapper.
Oh my God.
The corners fold and tells you it's like shredded chicken burrito, bean burrito, 7-layer burrito.
Oh God, that's awesome.
And Sherry's stealing it. So unfortunately, I'm not even using it. But it's the coolest thing, and I did not know such a thing existed. Otherwise, I would have bought it for myself.
I didn't know that existed either. I know they had the pajamas that have like tacos all over them.
Yeah, I think you get like
I kind of want a pair of them.
Yeah,
I think you get like a onesie, that kind of thing.
There are onesies. Yeah, exactly. I saw them on a Facebook ad. I was like, I need this. Yeah, I need tacos on my pajamas.
It's one of the things I heard about, and I said, wow, that's really cool. But it's something I wouldn't have thought to buy for myself, and that's the exact stuff you get somebody.
It's genius.
Yeah. Well. Who knew there would be a market for Taco Bell?
Because everybody loves Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Even though I hate them right now, we're breaking up
because they got rid of the Mexican pizza. Are you one of those hardliners?
No, the cheesy fiesta potatoes are gone.
My wife.
Oh really?
Yeah, that and the Baja Blast.
I got a quesarito.
Yeah,
really? Baja Blast is going? Yeah. Son of a bitch.
That's what I'm hearing. What? They got rid of shredded chicken. They got rid of the Mexican
quesarito.
Pizza.
I got one on like a Monday, and then like Thursday, my wife and I went, and it was gone, and she was so like, she had a rough day at work. She's like, I just want a quesarito, and I'm like. There's no more quesaritos.
So sorry.
I was like, I don't want to tell her I got one on Monday.
The whole goddamn menu was just gone.
Sherry's too.
And I have a hard enough time sometimes with that. I'm like, what do I normally get? There's so many things. I don't know what to do.
Sherry's go-tos were always Mexican pizza and 7-layer burrito, and the Mexican pizza is now gone. Like the one we have been going to, it's still on the menu plaque, but it's got a sticker on it that says sold out.
Sorry, we're done.
Yeah. They have this lame excuse. They got rid of all the potatoes. They're like, we're trying to make it better for our workers and our customers. And what sense does getting rid of potatoes make?
This isn't something anyone was crying out for. Like, man, can you overhaul the Taco Bell menu, please?
Yeah. Well,
and get rid of the signature items?
There is a legit potato shortage going on right now.
Is there really?
Yeah, so I think that's probably the contributing factor to it.
There's no potatoes in 7-layer burrito,
which is worrisome because McDonald's is still putting out the same.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else getting rid of potatoes.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just
does Taco Bell know something the rest of the world doesn't?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, McDonald's is putting all the potatoes into fries and shakes, and they're like,
we got the potatoes is people.
Soylent cheesy potatoes.
Yeah, who knew?
Coming 2021.
I don't know. Maybe it's just their suppliers. Who knows?
I don't know, but I'm telling you,
don't they have nacho fries still? Isn't that still a thing?
Thank God, no.
It was, and then it was gone, and then it came back shortly. And then I think
fries with
a
bit of seasoning on them.
That was the worst thing Taco Bell.
Yeah, I was like, this
is
underwhelming.
Yeah,
man.
We had them once. I was like, give me the cheesy fiesta potatoes back.
Yeah. I must have gotten them the first week that they started doing them because. For whatever reason, they gave me the wrong order, and they gave me 7 of these motherfuckers.
Whoa.
So I walked away with 7 of them, and I was like, this was an accident. And they're like, just keep them because we can't do anything with them.
Right. So, if you give them back, they're going to throw them out anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went to my friend's house, gave them all out. Every single one of us got sick.
Really?
Yeah.
That's one of those anecdotal,
I
can't eat Taco Bell stories.
Yeah.
Wow.
See,
I've never happened to me.
I could still eat Taco Bell. Taco Bell makes me feel good. It's McDonald's I'll eat when I want to.
Me too.
When I want to
McDonald's almost killed me 2 years ago. McDonald's almost killed me 2 years ago. It was bad. I was out doing an errand, and my wife and I were going to drop off a cable box from our old apartment. And it was across town, and I went and got McDonald's because it was the quickest thing. On the way home, my stomach starts turning in a way it's never turned before. And I'm rushing home on the parkway thinking I'm going to shit up my car. My brand new car I've had for about 3 months. And I'm like, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to have to replace upholstery. I literally ran into the house. I lost a flip-flop on the way to the steps and just died for an hour and a half. Fuck McDonald's.
Yeah, I actually ended up in the ER after a McDonald's meal too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I had a double quarter pounder with cheese and French fries. and I got some sort of like gastritis or something, and it felt like my my gallbladder. They had to check it out at the hospital, make sure my gallbladder wasn't going. And it was like a rock sitting in my stomach. Like,
good God!
Yeah, I
that's
literally
the only way I could explain it. Like literally a stone just sitting there.
That's what it was. It was just
what
like
a
turning,
like shit.
right behind.
Yeah.
Wow, nicely done.
Yeah.
And I started like sweating, and my heart was pounding, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
And it was the same meal that
like,
I would always
I've eaten
get as a
McDonald's
kid.
before.
The 2 cheeseburger meal. I just got a 2 cheeseburger meal and a 4-piece McNugget, and then just death.
Yeah.
See, it's.
I didn't learn my lesson though. I still eat there. I mean,
I've quit. I'm like,
That's
I
the
can't
thing.
do it anymore.
My mom has apologized for me for this on countless occasions because she used to down those motherfucking French fries when she was pregnant with me. I love those fries, and it sucks how much I love them.
Yeah.
I literally had some before I came here, and I'm really mad about it.
the fries are an addiction. They are.
You're
They're
contributing
damn
to
good fries. I just know what they do now.
We hit up the drive-through the other week because Sherry was just craving McDonald's fries, so we actually did stop and just get fries, and that was it. Oh, I'm sorry. I did get a thing of nuggets because I said, okay, those are benign enough that
Their
like,
nuggets
I'll give
are
those
still
a
good.
shot.
Yeah,
they're
the nuggets are-
they're
The
nothing.
McNuggets are still
Like, ever
good.
since
They're
then,
nothing compared to Wendy's.
I would get the
That's
craving 2
true.
to 3 times a year. I get no cravings anymore. I'm like, that did it for me. It did
Wendy's
the
chicken
end.
nuggets are the best known
Wendy's
to man.
chicken nuggets
but-
are the absolute best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy's, I will go to them if I feel like a chicken sandwich or something like that, but otherwise it's all Taco Bell. And I think Taco Bell
Burger
is
King
in for...
makes me sad. You go for their Burger King drive-through. Like I went there to get the Impossible Whopper last year.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me sad. It's like this is like depressing. Just
Yeah,
the
Burger Kings
King,
are shutting down left and right.
Yeah, like they're just like so void of just everything.
I still
they're
love
not that
them.
busy.
My double Whopper though. Like,
Anyone that works there doesn't really give a shit.
yeah, they
Like,
don't care.
Well, find a fast food restaurant where anybody
Where
works.
anybody
Gives
really
a
gives a shit.
If we're
Well,
being honest.
gives a shit in the sense of
My
corporate
Taco Bell does.
actually
Except for like Chick-fil-A.
corporate actually enforcing standards because
True,
it's the,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the craziest thing because you can go to different Burger Kings and depending on which one you go to, you get a vastly different experience. You
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to one that's
Yeah.
perfect, you go to one that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair.
But it's just sad. Like there's not even like you sit in the menus like, man, back when I was a kid, Burger King was hopping. There was a Burger King Kids Club. There was this.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
You're right.
It's just.
There's not a draw. I mean, the Impossible Whopper's a draw, certainly. I mean, I've gone there a couple of
I mean,
times
they've
to get
resulted
it.
to like hot dogs and tacos. Like I don't go to Burger King for hot dogs and
Yeah.
tacos.
I can't imagine those are any good. I never had them when I was eating red meat,
I
but
had one. I felt guilty.
Yeah.
I went to Taco Bell.
well, listen, I think
I felt like I was cheating on my wife. I was like, I'm sorry,
Taco
honey.
Bell is wifey, so
this
I'm
is
with
true.
you.
Taco
Yeah.
Bell's wife
Yeah.
material.
Taco
Yeah.
Bell is going to have to take a long, hard look in the mirror, though, and figure out if this is the road it wants to go down with revamping its menu, especially now that weed is legal in New Jersey. You're cheating yourself. You're literally leaving
Just
money on the
bring-
You
table.
are advertising
Just bring
every
back the
day
fucking
on Comedy
potatoes.
Central.
Just bring back the potatoes. That's all I ask of you.
Yeah.
Well, and the
Potatoes,
Mexican
cheese,
pizza.
and sour cream. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Quesarito.
How
Bring
hard
a
is it?
Quesarito also.
And the Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bring
Don't
back
ever.
everything.
Yeah.
Just don't fuck with the menu, okay?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm
Stick
going
to
feel
the
getting
fucking
just a
formula.
regular Coke.
I
or
love me
Pepsi.
some Baja Blast.
Like I go there to get Baja Blast.
Yeah, I won't get any other soda.
Yeah.
Like it's always
Yeah,
Baja
totally.
Blast.
And if
My
they're
wife
out,
gets a
I'm
Diet
always
Pepsi. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm getting
And I don't drink like Mountain Dew any other time. But
Never.
Like, that's,
I will say the best place to get soda like Pepsi,
Fountain.
Coke, and Fountain.
Yeah.
McDonald's for whatever reason.
Really?
yeah, their
McDonald's
their fountain soda. There's
it's-
something
Yeah, there's
different
something
about it.
about it.
it.
And it
It's-
won't
it's
kill
movie
you.
theater quality.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
He's
the
right.
craziest
That probably
thing.
won't kill me. So
There's something with the syrup. I heard a story about this. There's
It's
something
like
that
an
they do.
exclusive deal, like
Really?
get like an exclusive version. It's still marketed as regular Coke and Diet Coke and
Right.
Pepsi, but there's a noticeable difference.
There is.
Interesting.
Agreed.
Put like Jaeger in it or something. There's
Yeah,
some
I know, they-
opiate in it. That's
Yeah,
like
something
people are
about
like, oh, I want
the
this.
syrup that they use. It's different than anywhere else. Yeah.
because the movie theaters even are just like great.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. The fountain drinks at movie theaters are definitely a lot better than.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since those freestyle machines came in, I
I
feel like
love
that
the
upped
freestyle
the game.
machines.
Yeah.
I
They're
really
my
feel like-
favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
I love the modern movie theater.
I do
Me
too.
too, yeah.
Like it's one of the few things I'm like truly miss from the before times.
Yeah.
The before
like-
times is what we shall call them.
But when you say the before times, you have to do the slap
the
look away.
the sad, yeah.
I want 7 pounds of popcorn and a cherry lime Coke from that freestyle machine, and I'm
A 55-gallon drum
I've
of
never
cherry
seen
lime.
that.
Coke.
Yeah.
me tell you some
my-
shit.
My brother-in-law, I have to tell you about this. When we went to the movies and saw Captain Marvel, he bought a big bucket of popcorn and stuck like straws in them and just like held his hand down into the butter.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, dude, that's gonna like go through. He's like, I don't care.
That's
and he
the
had
trick.
He had 2 strawberry Fantas also.
Yeah.
Because he's Spanish. He's like, I'm Spanish. I gotta have strawberry.
You got to get the butter down to the bottom. That's how you have to do it.
You get the straws, you stick them in.
Yeah.
You
like I've never seen a human being do this before. It was like arm was like this on the bottom.
What
like,
Jen and I used to do, she would bring one of those like gallon freezer bags, and we would dump half of it into the bag, butter the bottom of half of the popcorn, dump the rest in, and then butter the top again.
See, you guys are smart because I would always pay for half-eaten popcorn.
Yeah.
My wife, we went with Andrew one time, and she just threw it out. It was like a big bag of popcorn. She had a quarter of it, and threw it away. He's like, what?
Do you know? I'm
He's
not,
like, I'll eat that out of the garbage. I don't give a shit.
I'm not proud of this. Okay, guys, I want to preface this with this. When they announced movie theaters opened up, I didn't buy a ticket. I literally went to the theater and I got myself a large thing of popcorn and a soda, and I left.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's
Good for you.
It's everybody's seeking comfort. I mean, we've talked about that repeatedly.
I do not blame you.
We've put on weight because we're getting our comfort from food, and that's one of them.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, theaters are doing that to
walking out
go
of a
now.
theater with movie theater popcorn and trying not to eat it the whole way home so you can go home and watch a movie.
Forget it. It's
Naughty.
all over the car.
It feels naughty and wrong.
But
It's like
saw,
skipping school.
I saw an article that theaters are doing like to go like sodas and popcorns because people want it.
Right.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I still say we all go in on a theater rental. AMC's doing it now too. You can rent a theater and pick from certain movies for like $99.
But
I said we should do that for Back to the Future.
You need a minimum of 20 people.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I could come
can
up with
scrounge
20
up
people.
Yeah.
Why not?
The crazy
Like for 100, that's $5 a head. Like we can get enough people. Be like, listen, kick it. I don't care if I pay for someone else. Like I'll throw in $40 of the 100. Like I can watch Back to the Future on the big screen right now in a private safe environment.
Anniversary.
Absolutely.
We would have seen it in the theaters this year for the 35th anniversary.
Let's not talk about it, okay?
Yeah, let's.
My heart hurts so
There's
bad.
a couple anniversaries we're missing, and I'm just like,
True Lies 25th anniversary, which wouldn't have happened, but it would have been nice. But yeah, there's a couple. You could still go see Empire Strikes Back, which.
I missed fucking Muppet movies in theaters because of this bitch.
Oh, you know what? I gotta say that was my birthday gift, which was awesome. I can't recall the name of the farm. I wish I could. I think it's Demarest Farms, which is up in Hills. Is it Hillsdale? I want to say. It's
Hilldale,
North
this
Jersey.
is where we live.
I know. Well, that's what I kept saying. It's just like Hilldale. This is where we're gonna live. Because my girlfriend kept calling it Hillside, which is the house my parents lived in when I was born, which is near Newark. And I was like, we're not going to Hillside. We're definitely going the opposite direction. It don't look like Newark. But anyway, they were doing, because the farm isn't open fully, like the shops and everything, they need to make up a little bit of money. So they were actually doing outdoor screenings of movies. And it was, God, I can't remember the exact date, but they did an outdoor screening of the Muppet movie that she surprised me with. And I was happy just to be able to do it. We saw it last year when AMC, or actually, I guess Fathom, did like a 2-day event. We saw it in theater, but still, just seeing that up on the screen, and the people who brought their kids was just
Excellent.
Yeah, it was so awesome, and
I think AMC and most movie theater chains really, really screwed the pooch on not doing their own fucking drive-ins in the parking lots of the theaters.
I agree.
I would think there could have been something that could have been done. I don't know.
Because a lot of AMCs and a lot of Cinemarks have their own buildings dedicated to being theaters.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about the AMC that I used to go to, which was in Freehold, was in front of it there was a huge parking lot, but also on the sides.
Yeah, those big blank
blank walls, but not just the big blank walls. You could literally show 3 different movies on. You could do the front screen, the back screen for a discounted rate because fuck it, and then 2 side screenings.
Yeah,
I feel like there's so much money missed out on that, and there's people doing their own pop-ups, which I'm glad because I'm enjoying the renaissance of drive-ins. I think that's fucking awesome.
Totally.
I hope it lasts.
Me too.
But I think they really screwed the pooch on not doing an AMC branded drive-in series.
I wonder if it's the idea of because they can't stop people who didn't pay from parking nearby. Like in Freehold, it's right by the mall, so people can park far enough away.
Well, here's the fix. Well, instead of putting the
parking lot has a dip in it too, so people can, if they're passing by, they can maybe see something. But nobody's gonna sit on the hill or across the street and watch movies. They can get in the parking lot.
Well, I'm not saying that was a deal breaker. I'm just saying that might be one of the considerations. Like, well, not everybody's going to pay. People might just park further away and try to watch it for free.
Well, the thing that they could do is
all bets are off nowadays.
Sell the popcorn. That'll get people to come in.
So let's say this screen is the front of the theater, right?
Right.
And then the parking lot is here. Instead of putting the screens by the fucking theater building, put it by the edge of the parking lot facing the road. Do you know the Freehold AMC?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because then because people could drive down that road and they're not going to see the movie. And if you did try to do it, they could spot you.
Right.
Which, I mean, you could also market it where it's like, okay, it's obviously discounted because, like, just make it super cheap because you know for a fact.
Yeah, you're not showing like Tenet or something like that. Just show older movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Christopher Nolan won't want that drive-in experience.
I paid $5 ahead to see Back to the Future at an AMC drive-in event.
Totally. Well, I think this farm, it wasn't much. I think it was like $10 or $15 per car, which is fine. In fact, they showed Halloween on Halloween, and my girlfriend asked me, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "I don't know." I mean, we didn't. We ended up watching the Halloween movies at home on AMC, which is time well spent. Speaking of blocking off things from the public, and we'll leave on this because we're running way over time. But this tickled me to no end. So there's on Route 7. I don't mind identifying the place. They're not going to mind, I don't think. But so there's a strip joint, gentlemen's club. Pick your euphemism on Route 17. Satin Dolls, which was Bada Bing in the Sopranos series. So I drove by. This is weeks ago when it was just outdoor gatherings. You can have food and everything outdoors. You know, people could be dining outside.
Was there an outdoor
drive-through strip club?
Hang on.
Okay.
I'm driving past, and it just caught my eye because the place was fully lit up, and I thought, well, they can't be open, right? And as I'm driving past, now I'm on Route 17, so I'm driving at least 50 miles an hour, probably more like 58, but I'm driving too fast, so I could just get a glance at it. Couldn't take a picture, otherwise I totally would have a reference point to cut into the video or show you guys at least. But what's set up outside is right next to the building, an area that's blocked off with like those metal frames with curtains, white curtains over them, like how they separate people at the hospital. On the outside. And I see there's a TV going. I can hear that there's music playing. And I got to tell you, I said, bravo to them for coming up with this idea. And wow, I feel so sad for the guys who want to actually go. And they're like, I need to see new titties so badly that I'm going to sit outside and watch a masked stripper, no less.
Ugh.
I mean, that's the idea that is crazy. It's just like, I just want to see the body. I don't care what her face looks like, which isn't that bad an idea because I'll grant you, I haven't been to a strip club and since I was like 22 or something like that. It's been a long time, but
never.
Considering there was never for you,
never.
You're not missing anything.
It's not my thing.
That's
why I haven't gone. It's just kind of not my thing. But I will say, based on my limited experience, there's no shortage of strippers with nice
food is good.
Well, you heard wrong.
Really?
The buffet is not so much, but maybe I was there at the wrong time. Stay away from the mashed potatoes. Anyway, I was thinking
that's why there's a potato shortage.
They were fucking strip clubs.
All the whores got them.
Strip clubs. Bada Bing is buying up all the potatoes.
Goddamn ladies of the night.
But based on my limited experience, there were a lot of strippers with nice bodies and busted helmets. So if they were wearing a mask, then they're probably doing better, if we're being honest. Like, if you go look at a girl, you didn't see, because I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of women I'm seeing out and about where you're just taking in the eyes and the body and the hair, and that's it. Like, you don't see the nose and the mouth. You don't see some of the most distinguishable facial features. So everybody, I think, looks more attractive wearing a mask when you're just seeing this.
So wait a minute. The way that they had it set up was that the women were behind the curtain silhouetted?
No, that was people
like
were like
box?
I guess seated in folding chairs outside. It's a full on like fenced off area now.
God.
But maybe this was like week one where it was just separated, where it was just like curtains in front of an outdoor setup. And I thought, again, I'm thinking about the poor saps who were actually going there and just like, I'll sit outside and drink a beer and watch this chick dance around with nothing on but a disposable mask.
Someone must really hate their
They just
wife.
need titties.
Yeah. I guess. I just thought, wow.
It's a hard time.
Yeah.
But good for them for finding a way to make it work.
Yeah.
I got to say, I got to hand it to him for at least doing something that was like, all right.
Yeah, I'll bet you hand it to him.
Good for, well, I didn't. I was driving.
See, like, I respect ingenuity like that, and I saw something similar, not with my own eyes, but online. Someone, I forgot what state it was, but they did a drive-through strip club.
I'd do that just for the curiosity factor.
Who knew that these strip club owners were so like creative? It's like, you know what we got to do?
Yeah.
We got to put up curtains.
Yeah.
It's curtains for you.
Curtains, see? And the guys drive by, see the titties, and they drop the money in a garbage pail outside the window.
But they did it like a car wash. It was the funniest thing in the world.
Oh, I'd be there.
It was a long tent that had sections of dance materials. So
that's where Andrew is tonight.
Yeah.
He didn't have a headache.
Yeah. I got like he sent me a voice message. It was like someone leaving a message at work saying like, "I'm really sick. I'd love to come in, but I can't come in."
They really play it up.
My dick's got a migraine. I gotta go take care.
Sweaty palms.
I got a record. You know, there's a little. You just record a quick message and send through text on Android. So he just recorded the message. Just like, "I'm really sorry. My headache's gotten really bad, and I didn't even pick my daughter up today. I've just been home. I just needed. I hope I can sleep this off, and I'm really sorry. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, it's like
Dad?
She's standing outside, a lunchbox in hand, still waiting. We should drive by and check on the way home. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, my uncles came and took care of me." Andrew wakes up at 3 a.m. Oh shit! I knew I forgot something. But yeah, it may have had that like calling into work when you're not really sick, feel to it. Now that I think about it, he's either getting high or he's at a drive-through strip joint. Go fuck yeah, she could get it. She could get it. I dropped the hammer on her. Yeah, I could kind of see that too. That may be what he's up to tonight. It's like Wednesday night. Yeah, Andrew's a very married man. 11 years. Yeah. Oh shit! It's 11 years next week.
Yeah.
Wow, that went quickly, huh? And we're not even the ones who were married.
Yeah.
So like a son of a bitch. 11 years. Wow.
Damn.
So yeah, and been with her since he graduated high school. So he's crying out for new titties. No, but anyway,
He's probably like, "Listen, if you put tents up, I'll pay money for it."
I don't even care what it is. I mean, Andrew's been we spent a lot of time last week.
You guys make Andrew sound like Beavis and Butthead. Like, I forgot my kid at work.
It's a caricature.
It is, but it's not that inaccurate.
You'll know soon enough.
If we're being, go back and listen to the 2 weeks previous episodes, and you'll be like, I get it. Well, I think we proved we didn't need him tonight. I mean, thankfully we were able to call an audible and get Engineer Chris involved.
Yeah, because I couldn't shut up when she started talking about the Muppets. I'm so sorry I'm so sorry to these guys.
Don't apologize. It's his fault.
Well, no, actually, I think you brought up the Muppets. Like, I wish Disney didn't buy the Muppets, and I think you started it, to be fair.
I asked you something, and then it went off on the fucking roller coaster of emotions that was.
I'm not sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now he's using
See, there are roller coasters of emotions. I told you.
Did you two just become best friends?
We did.
I think so. I think that's the way it's going.
So when do we do the Muppets podcast, guys? Oh wait, we already did it.
I think we already did it. Yeah. I think you and I need to do a podcast about Muppets now. We'll have to figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll coordinate.
Thanks for letting me sit in though with you guys.
Dude,
absolutely.
I missed you.
Yeah.
We missed you too. We were hoping you were gonna. I mean, we love Meg and Mike, of course, but we were just like.
But you're the favorite.
Car's getting fixed. I'm back in the picture.
Oh, dude, we would have. If we had known, we would have picked you up. I mean, come on.
I'm terrible with stuff like that. I'm like, I'll get it done. I'll do it. Don't worry about it.
I'll do it.
Well, if it happens again, just the show and I follow you. So just send us a DM and we'll get it done. Maybe we even show up with fries. See?
Why would you do that?
Hey, look, anything.
Trying to quit them.
I'm like I'm rewatching the Muppet movie. I realized I'm the Kermit of this group. I'm just picking up Muppets and bringing them into the family as I go along.
Which one am I?
Fozzie, just because the hair. Just because the hair
makes sense.
I'll take it.
I see you as a Gonzo.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, you know what?
You should, because Gonzo's my favorite Muppet.
Gonzo, if Gonzo ate his girlfriends, because Ryan eats chicken tenders and mint chocolate chip ice cream, and that's basically it. So, and beer.
A rounded diet.
Not Camilla again.
Yeah.
Mint chocolate.
It's like, oh, you're mine, Camilla, too. It's like Little Shop of Horrors.
Directed by Frank Oz.
Directed by Frank Oz. See, it's all comes back to Muppets. That's one musical I could get behind that isn't a Muppets musical. Otherwise, keep your Hamiltons and your Rodgers and Hammerstein and your Pac-Man video games. And your
Dan Fogelberg.
I'm getting very old, man. All of a sudden, I'm like you.
All I'm saying is that I at least need one Muppet Marvel crossover movie. That's all I want.
Just have the Muppets play the Marvel characters like they did with the DC characters. Like Sylvester is Batman. I don't know if you saw FYE has a whole campaign for the 80th anniversary of Bugs Bunny, I believe it's based around, where it's Lola Bunny's Wonder Woman, Bugs Bunny, Superman.
Is it like
you
the
get
McDonald's
Funko Pops
toys?
of them. No, they're like they.
Do you remember the
Pops
McDonald's toys
merchandise.
of like Bugs Bunny is Super Bugs and like you had like the suit you put on?
I can't picture them, but I remember that campaign. I know they have Funko Pops and a bunch of like T-shirts and stuff at FYE. And fortunately, there's still some FYEs in our area, and they're open. But it's I forget who. I think the Flash is Wile E. Coyote. So if they did something like that, and they had the Muppets do it with the Marvel characters,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the Roadrunner should be the Flash.
Yeah.
Well,
I would like it in reverse. I don't think I would want the Muppets playing Marvel characters as much as I think it would be kind of funny to see what would happen if the Muppets coexisted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Their reactions.
They do nothing but panic the entire time. Like it would be fun.
Hilarious to me. Like,
but I mean, Thor with the Muppets. Come on.
I want Kermit to be Tony Croak and have like a little, really interesting goatee and dress up in an Iron Man suit. Like, who wouldn't want to see that?
Muppet Christmas Carol level parody.
Exactly.
That'd be amazing.
I think so. I think it's worthwhile. Listen, if you're all in the Mouse House, why not at least try it? Because
they've been
you can.
For years.
I know. I really wish they put more attention to the Muppets, but that'll be explored in even more depth in a future episode, I'm sure.
I hope you guys had a great time.
Dude, we always have a great time here. We fucking love this place. That's why we've been here for like 2 hours. I think we've been in this room sweating like crazy. For some reason, it's normally hot in here.
No, it's not. I'm glistening.
I'm like, oh my God, do I have a fever? Did I get Rona?
I mean, we got the table right here, so frankly, I was going to take off my pants about an hour ago because who's to know?
Yeah,
but,
no one would know.
We could do a strip poker episode. First, I got to learn how to play poker. So, all
right, well, go on YouTube. That's how everybody. That's how everybody learns every skill these days. Yeah. But we had a blast. We're glad Engineer Chris was here to basically be the fourth voice.
Yes.
We're very happy. And since he's Samoan Andrew, then it kind of works anyway. So in look and tone of voice. Tell me I'm wrong, Ryan. I said that the first time we came here. I was like, Jack, am I right? Like if we had to diversify and like you can't be 4 white guys, sorry. Like we'd have to draft in Engineer Chris to play Andrew because it's just like, well, you're kind of like him. Your tone of voice is similar, except we don't make you sound angry when we impersonate you.
Do you want me to come on camera? Hi guys, I'm Andrew.
Yeah, what's up? Well, this is Andrew.
What's up, guys? My name is Andrew.
You've been replaced.
Welcome to the show. I don't know why, but I'm quite crazy.
Whatever. That's it. Those are faces he makes too when he acts crazy.
Especially now I know who he'd be.
Or we don't start a show for 2 hours.
Crazy Harry.
Oh, he'd be Crazy Harry for sure. I mean, but his favorite character is Dr. Teeth, and that's not too far off. If he had some musical ability, like I could see Andrew as a bit of a Dr. Teeth. But anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap it up because we're getting a little sweaty. Yeah. So a little. But it's been 2 hours. We have to go home at some point. As much as we don't like leaving based on the last couple of weeks, but we're milking the most out of this show since it's going to be a few weeks since we're going to be back.
Yeah, my bladder is about to explode.
Oh, that too?
Yeah.
So you could have tapped out for a bathroom break. We could carry the ball. But
no.
All right. Well, in that case,
thanks for championing on. Right?
We'll just
absolutely. I'm not in pain or anything.
We'll wrap it up. So if you enjoyed all this, you could follow Jack on Twitter at JackWagon85 and on Instagram at JacksonFigure1985. You can follow Ryan on Instagram at HoneyIDrunkTheBeers. You can follow him on Twitter, but he no longer tweets, even though his account's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there, but you're not getting anything new. Unless you just want to placate his ego, then feel free to give him a follow.
Sure. I've been sending him funny things through Twitter, through like screenshots.
He's just like, since you're not on Twitter anymore, here's a funny thing I found on it.
Oh, okay. So you're still reading. Oh, I thought you deleted the app off your phone. You can still get DMs?
No, he sends me just like screenshots of.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna load you up with. I'm just gonna send you a bunch of DMs like, Jesus Christ, why is it this guy keeps sending me all this stuff? He knows I'm not checking it. I'm just trying to help out. And of course, you can follow Engineer Chris on Instagram at Christian_Cordes with a D and an S _. Mm-hmm. And what's your Twitter handle as well? Same.
Christian Attrell, ATTREL.
Okay.
Find me there.
Give him a follow as well. And check out his YouTube channel as well, Arcade Productions. It's awesome. I've watched a bunch of stuff on there, which another reason I've been dying to talk to you and hoping you were back here again is I've been watching the stop motion stuff, and it's awesome. Plus, the music is great, too. And now with your PM Dawn connection, I get it. I get it. You were lucky enough to get a little...
the stain on my father's legacy.
I don't know about that.
No, stop.
Mr. I write songs for Thomas the Tank Engine and get paid for it. Yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Aballo and on Instagram at Chris Sells Out, and follow the show at Cape Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if you go to chrisaballo.com, by now, there's not a specific custom link I could give out, but the Patreon should be up and running. So if you go to chrisaballo.com or the various social media, you should be able to find the Patreon link there, because now it's November, so it should finally be up. And subscribe on your podcast platform of choice, and please recommend to a friend. And you can subscribe, by the way, to the YouTube channel as well. Look up Chris Aballo's Podcast Experiment and find it on YouTube, or look up Half-Assed Media is the channel. Give that a subscribe, because there still will be video episodes coming. They'll just be Zoom video episodes instead of episodes in the studio. But we'll be back sooner rather than later at the studio to do some more shows here at Shared Universe. So Until next time, for Jack, Ryan, and engineer Chris, this is Chris Aballo, and this was yet another experiment.
Noise, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers. Pack our ass smoke up, man. Time to kick back, drink some beers, and smoke some weed.
Done poisoning the youth for today, huh?